will she like? What will make her feel special? What will make her say, wow? At Bailey's Fine Jewelry, we have experts that are here to help. We specialize in making you look like a hero. You can even send her in to make a wish list that we keep on file to help make your life just a little bit easier. Bailey's has the largest selection of jewelry in North Carolina, including designers like David Yurman, Lagos, Marco Biccigo, and Ippolita, as well as beautifully curated Bailey's collections. And don't fret, because if for some reason she doesn't love your gift, we have a 30-day return policy. Our goal is to be your go-to jeweler for life. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, located in Raleigh's Village District, Crabtree Valley Mall, and Cary's Fenton. Also in Rocky Mount and Greenville. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in all of the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. The betting options feel endless on DraftKings. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD with no spaces for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Midday Monday, we're in the low 40s. Highs today in the mid to upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly cloudy overnight in the low 30s with rain moving in. There's a potential for a brief period of freezing rain as well. That's why Tuesday morning is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Deep River Sport and Clays and Shooting School. Give the gift of a cool experience. Get a Deep River Sport and Clays and Shooting School gift card today. It's right on target. And check out their new merch online at deepriversportandclays.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 51 points at 42,789.
I'll take wins any way you can get them. I'll take wins any way you can get them. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim today. Graham Hill producing the show. Panthers get a win last night. Get a win on Sunday. 36-30 in overtime. Let's be real, should not have gone to OT. Should not have gone to overtime. But this is all the process of a young team learning to win. And by young, I mean you have a second-year quarterback. You have a first-year head coach who's also just his second year as a play caller. You've got some young wide receivers or young skill positions overall. Tommy Tremple's on a rookie contract still. Chuba Hubbard, I know he signed a contract extension, but he's on a rookie contract. Same with Ike Ekwonu on a rookie deal. Jalen Coker's an undrafted rookie. Ja'Tavion Sanders, rookie. You also have Xavier Legette. I know he didn't play yesterday. Rookie. Like, still overall a young, at least offensively, a young team. Still trying to learn how to win. And for a team in the Carolina Panthers that is looking to change its culture to a winning culture, guess what? You got to win. You can't change the culture of a team to a winning culture unless you actually get rewarded for the work that you're doing. I know there are Panther fans. I know Chris Lee and I had a new episode of Panthers Playbook after the game on Sunday, and there are a couple people in the comment section saying, well, this is actually a bad situation because the Carolina Panthers won. It hurts their draft position for their first-round pick and all that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I disagree. That's fine if you think that way. I totally get it. You want the best player available, and you want the highest draft pick position possible. I get that. But eventually, at some point, these guys have to learn how to win. And just one high pick in the first round isn't just going to instantly just flip the switch for your team. It's just not. It takes more than just one guy coming in and doing that. Also, what do you want these guys, the current Panthers that are going to be part of this team going forward, what do you want them to feel? Hey, guys, we got close again. Awesome. We're going to get a high pick. Is that what you want to establish for a first-year head coach and a second-year QB? No. You want them to learn how to win and what it actually takes to have a good game, full 60 minutes, make winning plays when they count in the situations where it really matters. We'll dive into that in a second, but Dave Canales, the head coach, it was really special to play Panther football.
It was great. It was great for us to just be right here, Bank of America Stadium, with our fans here. It was a great showing by the fans. I mean, it was, there was some great energy, at the end of this finish right here. So to be able to show our style, great effort, great enthusiasm, great toughness, playing smart, and finish, the final piece of that, is it was really special to me so that we can feel what that feels like to play our brand of football.
Yes, feel what it feels like. But the finish part, Graham, is where they still can get better. Let's go late in the game. There's still winning plays to be made that were left out there by the Panthers. Like I said, there's no business that game had no business going into overtime. No business going into overtime. Carolina takes over with the ball, their own 14-yard line with 3:10 to play. They're up 3 at this time, 30-27. Arizona has all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. So 4 times they get a chance to stop the clock. 4 stoppages. 3:10 to play. Panthers have the ball. You're winning. This is a situation where possession and clock are your friend. Protect the ball. Stay in bounds. Football 101. They teach you that before high school. Protect the ball. Stay in bounds. Clock's ticking. Arizona's used one of their timeouts. It gets to 3rd and 5 for the Carolina Panthers on their own 19. Bryce Young ends up finding Dan Chisena, the wide receiver, picks up 23 yards to the 42-yard line. Love it. Big chunk play, chains moving. Except Chisena goes out of bounds, gets forced out of bounds, doesn't stay in bounds. In those situations, I'd much rather just get 15 yards as opposed to 23 as long as you stay in bounds. So now the clock stops with 2:15 to play. By going out of bounds, you actually made things easier for Arizona. Because, again, they already used one of their timeouts. By you stepping out of bounds, they still have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So 3 stops of the clock with 2:15 to play. Staying in bounds either makes Arizona use a timeout or the clock runs down to the 2-minute warning. Either way, Arizona has to use a stoppage. You're forcing the Cardinals to use one of their stoppages. That's play number 1. Panthers run the ball twice. Cardinals use one of their timeouts, as well as the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. Brings up third down and short. A short 3 for Carolina at their own 49-yard line. Pick up a first down and you win. Simple as that. If you pick up a first down and Arizona uses their final timeout, which they, again, should not have because you stepped out of bounds earlier, but if they use their final timeout, you burn 40 seconds off the clock on each play on 3 kneel downs, you go home with a win. You go home with a win. Simple as that. You go home with a win. Dave Canales calls a pass play to the left flat for Chisena. He's open. The play was there. Now, if you wanted to dispute and say, hey, you know what? They should have ran the ball. Hey, I'm for it. I like Chuba Hubbard. There's a reason why you signed Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. There's a reason why Ike Ekwonu's rated one of the best run blockers at left tackle. Lean into it. But instead, but also, if you don't pick up the first down, if you run the ball, you force them to use the timeout, right? Stop the clock, possibly. Or if they want to let it bleed down, that's their decision. Probably my guess they would call a timeout. But anyway, the play is there. Bryce Young dismissed the throw. And he knew it. You make that completion, Chisena, if he stays in bounds this time, you win. But because Bryce misses, you stop the clock again for Arizona. You stop the clock again for him. And as opposed to, look, this is also the frustrating part there. They have the incomplete pass. It looked like they were going to try and line up to maybe run another play, or, hey, maybe we can draw Arizona offsides and try and pick up that first down. It happens. They didn't do either of those. Instead, they took a delay of game penalty. They punt. Arizona, after a short return, gets the ball thrown 26-yard line with 1:47 to play and a timeout. Sure enough, that timeout was used to stop the clock with 2 seconds left for Arizona to kick the game-tying field goal.
Well, they almost didn't call the timeout. I mean, they almost let the play clock or the game clock run all the way out.
That was a little situation for the line judge on the far side of the field, I guess in front of the Arizona bench, initially signaled when Kyler Murray went out of bounds that he put his arms overhead to wave to stop the clock. And then someone else came in and wound the clock. So really the Arizona coaches were like, wait, did you stop the clock? Is it a first down? Because if the clock stopped, or if it's a first down, we're going to run, we can spike the ball because, might get a couple plays in here. So really, like, the officiating, which sucked during the game, put Arizona in a bad spot. Because their coach was like, wait, is it a first down? Is it not? Because you had trouble spotting the football. So I give the Arizona Cardinals, the coaching staff, some grace on that one. But nonetheless, they still had that timeout. Panthers took a 30-20 lead with 12:04 to play. Carolina's 2 offensive possessions after they took that 30-20 lead in regulation totaled 9 plays, and they ran just 3:27 off the clock, including a 3-and-out after Arizona had cut their lead to 30-27. Sure enough, they get the ball in overtime. First play, 1-yard pass to Thielen. Second play, 7-yard run by Chuba Hubbard, makes it 3rd and 2. Then you give up a sack. Now you punt the ball away. This is the second offensive possession in a row where you punted the ball to the other team with the opportunity for them to win it. As opposed to you having the ball and winning the game yourself, you're giving the other team another opportunity to win the game. Cardinals actually get to a point where they're 4th and 2 on their own 19-yard line, and they go for it, probably because knowing they need to win to stay in playoff hunt. And they still run it without James Conner, their running back, who got hurt in the 3rd quarter. Arizona converts. They eventually get to 3rd and 5, but then they fall flat on their face. They take a delay of game penalty. Then Kyler Murray gets sacked. Now they're facing 4th and 24. The sack was huge. Carolina gets the ball at the 49-yard line. 2 Chuba Hubbard runs later, 28 yards, 21 yards. They actually finally win. But the win should not have taken that much. This is where I again talk about making winning plays and finishing. But Bryce Young did talk about, hey, you know what? No quit in this team.
We talked about this last part of the season being a great opportunity just for us to finish, to set the tone for the future, kind of just lay the foundation of where we want to go. And it's a week-to-week league. We're just in this week. We can only do 1 week at a time. But just having that point of emphasis and then coming out and executing, having a great team win today, in the cold in December, there's no quit in this team at all. Something I'm super grateful to be a part of. So I think it just our strive to finish, and that's something that coach instills in us on a daily basis. I think it's showing.
We'll dive into the defense later. But again, you're not going to apologize for the win. Now, should they have closed it out sooner? I think that's what great teams do, or at least good teams do. They finish that game. Don't give the other team a chance. I mean, heck, your defense actually did give you an interception, Damani Richardson, that gave you the ball to allow you to have that closing drive. That whole sequence of plays I just talked about, that came off an interception by your defense. They actually made a stop somewhat when you needed them to. This team is growing, though. It's all part of the growing pains. Bryce Young even talked about this team growing together.
I think it's just us coming to our own, being able to start to establish an identity, understand what the brand of football that, we need to play is, what Coach brought here, and, getting more reps at that, more opportunity, us being able to grow together, to establish that, have that belief within ourselves. I think that, is something that's definitely grown throughout the year and something we have to continue to keep building on.
Yeah, growing. And the guys in the locker room have to believe into what Dave Canales is establishing. The guys in the locker room do not give a damn about where the draft pick is going to be in 2025. They're there to win and stay employed. Simple as that. They don't care if you're picking 4 or 7. Heck, you could trade that pick anyway. Who cares? They don't. The fact that the fan base at Bank of America and people were rallying around the team was great. The fact that the team is buying in to what Dave Canales is doing, even though this is now just a 4-win team, the fact that there is truly buy-in is good. That's good. That's how you turn a culture of a team around. Still has a long, long way to go. But the fact that they're getting these repetitions live in real games against a team that was fighting for the playoffs in the Arizona Cardinals, for them it was a playoff game. I understand for Carolina it wasn't, but for Arizona it was. That game had stakes. And it's good for the Panthers to play games with some stakes. It's only going to help you in the future. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Coming up in about 25 minutes or so, we'll have our Monday Soundoff, but it's Festivus. We will have the airing of grievances, Graham. We will have the airing of grievances. But the Panthers weren't the only team that got a win this weekend. I'll tell you why one team got one they absolutely needed this past weekend. Next.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Jordan Martinook to the rebound, and this line is delivering the presents around Christmas.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7:30. Puck drop at 8.
Aho sends it across. Robinson back to Aho. They score! Roll the highlight reel, Sebastian Aho. Merry Christmas.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And Don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
Don't miss the incredible last-minute deals at Target this week. With up to 50% off toys and great savings on clothing, tech, small appliances, floor care, and more, you can still save in the final days of the season. Plus, unlock more savings when you join Target Circle for free and enjoy exclusive deals with just one magical scan. But hurry, before these last-minute deals vanish. Save more on gifts this season. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes available online or in person. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted.
Not available in Washington State.
John Heister is playing Santa with the Wrap Up the Year sales event at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Now is the time to give yourself a great big present of $20,000 off with dealer discount and incentives. Ho, ho, ho! Put yourself in the driver's seat of any 2024 Jeep Grand Wagoneer Series 3 right now at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. See dealer for all the details. You've been good this year, so get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
UNC finally got the win they needed. They've played a tough schedule to start the year. By the way, the drive with Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon, Graham Hill producing the show. They have a good win against Dayton this year. UNC basketball does. But losses to Michigan State, Kentucky, Kansas, Alabama, high-ranked teams, top 25 teams. And have come up short and all but the one against Dayton at the Maui Invitational. That's the only one you actually won. You needed to have another big win for your season to improve your stock for the NCAA tournament. It's weird to say that, but Carolina's just a 7-5 basketball team right now. Again, tough schedule, but just a 7-5 team. Last year for Hubert Davis, they really started to turn things around after the loss to UConn. They really started to turn things around. And Hubert Davis in this game, yet on Saturday, where they beat UCLA 76-74, Hubert Davis, their head coach, clearly leaned into the small lineup. We saw a lot of Elliot Cadeau, R.J. Davis, Seth Trimble, and Ian Jackson on the floor together. 4 on the perimeter, 4 out, 1 in the middle. There's a clear emphasis on those guys being on the floor together. And you know what? The ball movement was there. There was some tempo to the ball movement. There was a lot of sloppy play. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But on defensive side, there was a clear emphasis to be fast to help from the weak side. When you're playing undersized like that, you have to be able to react quickly. The guards also did a great job of crashing in to get rebounds as well. Kind of have to when you're running out with a truly small lineup where Ian Jackson's your second tallest guy on the floor, and he's, 6'3", 6'4"? You have to do that. But the offensive rebounding was actually there for Carolina. Hubert Davis, the head coach, talked about it.
It was huge for the team. We were talking in the huddle, and we were up by 1 after RJ made the free throw, a little bit over 10 seconds to go. And we talked about being in that situation in the past and for us not getting the box out, costing us a win, and that all we needed was one stop. And I was just really proud of them. For them to be able to get the rebound, for them to be able to get to stop and to step up in that situation to be able to win. UCLA is a really good offensive rebounding team, and we were able to out-rebound them, and I thought that was a huge determining factor for us winning today.
So UNC basketball in recent games, especially in a lot of the games where they played tough competition, Graham, they fall behind big time in games. Big time, including in this last game, 17. They fell behind as much as 17 on Saturday against UCLA. 17. Now, there was a little 8-0 run that Carolina had when they were down 17 to cut the deficit back down to single digits. Remember correctly, it was Seth Tremble hit a three-pointer, then there was a layup, and I think Ian Jackson hit a three-pointer right after that. But it was on 3 straight possessions, three-pointer, layup, another three-pointer, quick little spurt. They got the 17-point deficit back down to single digits. And they were able to chip away from there. But my concern is the sloppiness from this team. 18 turnovers. 18 turnovers. UCLA took advantage of that with 24 points off of turnovers. Now, a saving grace for Carolina late in this game, UCLA just didn't hit their free throws. Simply didn't. Just simply didn't hit their free throws down the stretch. Tyler Bilodeau, the big man, 6'8", 6'9", for UCLA, had 24 points in the game. 26. Missed a bunch of free throws down the stretch. He was 3 of 7 from the free throw line. 3 of 7 from the free throw line. Still a lot of sloppy play, careless mistakes. Multiple times, remember in the first half, it was like the same spot on the court, Graham. It was right in front of UCLA's bench. There was Cade Tyson and Ian Jackson catch the ball along the sideline with their foot out of bounds.
Yeah, this has not been a very good inbounding team so far this season.
Yeah, it's just, don't struggle in the inbounds, but they just catch the ball on the sideline. There's some foot's out of bounds. 18 turnovers again overall. But by the way, let's look on the bright side for them. Ian Jackson, welcome to the chat. Now, he's been really good this season, do not get me wrong. His 2 highest scoring games have come against UCLA and Alabama. 2 really good opponents. But him being from the Bronx, the game on Saturday being played at Madison Square Garden was probably super special for him. Like, if we're being honest, it was probably super special for him. Be back in his home city, playing at the Garden. And he showed it. The guy was awesome. 24 points on 8 of 13 shooting. He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. He has that spark to him. I know a lot of Carolina fans want him to start. You know what? I don't blame you for feeling that way. I really don't. I really don't. But it also could be, if you have a guy that can come off the bench and can provide that, there's value into that too. But one thing we've seen with Ian Jackson getting more playing time, he played 32 minutes, the second most of any Carolina player on Saturday. 32. RJ Davis played the most with 36. Seth Tremble, 31. Ian Jackson was in there late to close, which really is what you want, right? Not just him maybe starting. You want him out there closing, finishing. But if you look at the way Hubert Davis has adjusted his lineup over the last few games, Van Allen Lubin's been starting along with Drake Powell, Jalen Washington, and Jalen Withers going to the bench. Jalen Washington and Jalen Withers to the bench, they played just 18 minutes combined yesterday. 18. Ty Claude, the transfer from Georgia Tech, who played previously at Morehead State as well as Western Carolina, he got more playing time than Washington and Withers himself individually. Hubert Davis is clearly leaned to, hey, you know what? We're small. Fine. We're just going to be small. Ain't going to grow. Not going to grow between now and when ACC play tips off. Just not. So let's lean into what we have. What do we have best? Got some guards that could push. Got some guards that could run. Look at the number of minutes, again, played. I remember watching this game. I was like, man, seeing a lot of small lineup here. RJ Davis, Ian Jackson, Seth Tremble, Elliot Cadeau, Drake Powell. Those are your 5 shortest guys that you have in your rotation, and they played the most. played the most. You literally went 4-1 that game. They got the win. They needed this win. Again, just because they got the comeback in this one doesn't mean it's all figured out. This team still has a long, long way to go. But they needed it, and they finally got it. Now you go into ACC play. You don't have a lot of big games in ACC play to get these quality quad one wins. Yeah, you got your games against Duke, Pitt, Clemson. I think Louisville right now technically is considered a quad one game. That's it. Not a whole lot of chances. Carolina needs to take advantage of them as often as they can. As often as they can. But hey, wins are wins. You don't apologize for them. You don't give them back, Ram. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Coming up in just a little bit. Carolina wasn't the only basketball team to shine this weekend. Ian Jackson wasn't the only freshman from the Triangle to shine this weekend. I'll tell you who made the Dean's List coming up in 4 minutes.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Our neighbors in western North Carolina are still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. The North Carolina Association of Broadcasters has partnered with the United Way to help rebuild their lives. During the month of December, please give to United for Western NC at unitedfornc.org. Your donation in partnership with the United Way will directly support unmet needs in these communities. Please support those who have suffered so much by giving to unitedfornc.org today. Furnished by North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Congrats, Christina and Carmen. You've always been the green family. Composting to cut waste. You've even washed and reused the same straw for the past 10 years. But this time, you've taken it up another notch. By purchasing this electric vehicle, you're putting gas, oil, and harmful emissions in the rear view for good, which will leave you thinking, peace, every time you plug in. Good for your conscience, great for the planet. That's the power of EV. Sponsored by the NC Clean Energy Technology Center and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with this station.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and our world is too often marked by polarization and hostility. It can be easy to be discouraged by politics, our economic situation, or other worries. It's also tempting to place our hope in political leaders or material wealth. Yet centuries ago, wisdom reminded us not to trust in kings or riches, but to find hope in a promised Savior who was born in a manger in Bethlehem. That Savior, Jesus, came to offer life and rest for weary souls. His invitation remains, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This Christmas season celebrates the incredible gift of Emmanuel, God with us. It's a time to reflect on His love, freely given and undeserved, bringing light to a dark and weary world. My prayer is that you find the answers to the deepest needs of your soul in Jesus, who came near to bring salvation and peace. This message brought to you by Easy Step Media.
And the Good Feet Store.
Adam Golden, studio with my friend Dallas Spruill from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Do you want to wish me a Merry Christmas? Is that why you're here?
Merry Christmas, Adam. Glad to be here.
Anybody else? Anybody more important than me? Of course, everybody more important than me.
It's this time of the year where it's time to celebrate with friends and family. And from all of your good friends at the Aluminum Company in North Carolina, I'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
All right. Now, hopefully my roof is suitable for Santa, but if people don't have roofs that are suitable for Santa, you guys can help.
We can help them, whether it's metal, flat, rubber, shingles. We got the best warranties in the industry, and we'd love to help you out.
And Santa will land perfectly and take off perfectly from the roof. Aluminumcompany.com online. Dallas Spruill is there. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Merry Christmas. Visit us on the web at aluminumcompany.com.
Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, one of the only showrooms where you can find 4 brands under one roof. Located at 3335 NC 87 South in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
So coming up at 6 o'clock tonight, we will have Panther Talk. So if you want to hear more about the Carolina Panthers win, I know Anish Shroff and Jim Zoki, that crew, Eugene Robinson, they do a great job with Panther Talk, by the way. Dave Canales, the head coach, does join them. So that's at 6 o'clock tonight here on The Fan. Also coming up tonight here on The Fan, Canes are in action. They got a big win yesterday afternoon in the Garden. So yeah, Carolina teams dominating Madison Square Garden this weekend. UNC got a win. Hurricanes get a win. Both at MSG this weekend. The Triangle owns MSG. Let's call it what it is. Call it what it is. 3-1 win over the Rangers yesterday, Graham. 3-1. I'll take it.
I'm here for it.
Coach Eckhoff.
Happy holidays.
Saves. Heck yeah. But also coming up laying in later tonight, 8 o'clock puck drop, 7:30 Storm Watch with Adam Gold right here on 99.9 The Fan. Coming up here in about 10 minutes, we will have the airing of grievances. For our Monday sound off, we will have the airing of grievances. But first, before that, Graham, let's get to the Dean's List. Dean's List for me, one person in mind. Local here in the Triangle. Go Con Knippel, Duke men's basketball. Scored 18 points over the weekend against Georgia Tech. Most points he's scored since the season opener against Maine, where he put up 22. Against Georgia Tech, it was the fifth time this season, Graham. Fifth time this season he's attempted 8+ three-pointers in a game. He was 3 for 8 against Maine, 1 for 8 against Kentucky, 0 for 8 versus Kansas, 2 for 9 at Louisville, and then against Georgia Tech, 4 for 8. So, best shooting percentage he's had when attempting 8+ threes in a game. Did that. Shot 7 for 11. His best overall shooting game this season against 7 for 11. I know against Seattle he was 4 of 5. I know against Auburn he was 2 for 3, so those shooting percentages were higher. But to be this efficient with this volume, outside of, again, probably the season opener against Maine, where he was 8 of 14 shooting against Maine. Against a Georgia Tech team that ain't no pushover. We saw him take UNC, the team that just beat UCLA. We saw Georgia Tech take UNC down to the wire. Georgia Tech's not a pushover of a team. Damon Stoudemire, he's turning things around there. Heck, we even saw it last year, Graham. Georgia Tech was a tough out for anybody. If I remember correctly, they beat Duke. John Shire, how the offense looked, the structure of the offense, how things are turning around at Duke basketball.
I just thought the shot quality was a lot better, and it's probably the best that we've flowed, just going from defense to offense. I thought we did a really good job. We're finding each other's strengths and understanding just how to play together, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and then we've done a much better job. Thought we really executed today in the half court. We got what we wanted. The ball, again, it was simple in the second half because we just kept going, middle pick and roll with these two guys. But we have really good shooting to get him off some staggers and screens. Isaiah, just to get some more movement, I think was a big thing for us, and understanding what we're doing at a higher level.
I remember against Kansas when they used Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel and pick and roll as a duo together, and they really were able to generate some really good scoring chances off that. If Con Knippel can be an effective scorer consistently, because he's been kind of up and down this season. We've seen some rough shooting games from him. He's just a freshman. He's a kid. I get it. The talent is there, though. The talent's there. If he can be consistent threat, a consistent, efficient threat, I should say, then Duke's only going to get better as the season progresses. You can't continue to rely on Cooper Flagg just to be that dude every single game in and game out. You just can't. Someone else, at least every once in a while, has to carry the load in some way, shape, or form. I love the fact that Isaiah Evans coming in off the bench goes 2 for 3 from behind the arc. I like that. I like that for Duke. That's someone that, again, is a consistent threat from the outside and just spaces the floor so much better.
And at the very least, you still have the veteran presence from Tyrese Proctor,
Yes.
also Malik Brown, who's played in the ACC for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have – it doesn't have to be a freshman showcase game every single time for Duke.
Great point. Great point. I remember last week when we did Cons and Cons, I mentioned my con thing I like about Duke basketball was their experience, especially coming off the bench. You mentioned Malik Brown. Mason Gillis, the transfer from Purdue, was the sixth man of the year from the Big Ten. You have that. Caleb Foster hasn't been starting because Sion James has kind of taken over that starting point guard spot. But Caleb Foster played a ton of games and started for you a bunch last season. A ton. That's great experience coming off the bench. I like it. Duke might, if Knipple can be, again, consistent, just consistently efficient, doesn't have to put up 18 every night. But if he's putting up 14, 15, and if he's taking 10 shots in a game and he's making 5 to 6 on a consistent basis, going, 2 of 4 from 3, that's good for Duke. That's really good for Duke. This basketball season here is only going to just ramp up even more as ACC plays getting going. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for us getting into the heart of the ACC schedule. I'm stoked, Graham. I am stoked. All right, it's that time. Normally we do a sound off. Graham, let's go and hit the sound off sounder for the people. But because it is Festivus, we'll have the airing of grievances. If you want to air your grievances or just really sound off on anything, 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326, Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Graham, as people are calling in, I must first kick off Festivus, the airing of one of my grievances. The airing of grievances. Y'all know Seinfeld. Y'all thought, again, 919-860-5326. Y'all thought that we wouldn't see any blowouts in the college football playoff? Like these blowouts that we saw this past weekend were anything new in the college football playoff? Y'all thought this was just like a new thing? It's not. It's not. It's not new. So for everyone out there that's saying, oh, SMU didn't belong, Clemson shouldn't have been there, Indiana shouldn't have been there, blah, 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 give me Bama, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Your darling from the SEC, Tennessee, also got their kicked in the pants. Almost said something worse. Almost had Graham hit the dump button over there for a second, but I didn't. Y'all act like this stuff doesn't happen in the playoffs. Not just in the college football playoff, but in any sport. Have you ever seen a blowout in the NFL, in the wild card round or divisional round? Heck, even the Super Bowl? Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen teams get blown out in the playoffs in all sports. Ever seen a sweep in the postseason? NBA, NHL, MLB? It happens all the time. So for people sitting out there saying because of these blowouts this weekend from the college football playoff, Indiana getting routed by Notre Dame, SMU throwing pick sixes constantly against Penn State, Clemson getting beat by Texas, and actually a game that really wasn't really much of a blowout. It was actually somewhat of a decent game. And then Tennessee getting their butts kicked in by Ohio State. Y'all clearly forgot what has happened in college football playoff championship games. Heck, you have to go to all the way back to the 2017-2018 season where there wasn't a 15-plus point loss in the national championship game. That's when Alabama beat Georgia 26-23 in overtime. Go to the next year, Clemson beat Alabama 44-16 in the national championship game. Go the year after that, LSU beat Clemson 42-15. That's 17 points. Go to 2020, Bama beat Ohio State 52-24. Georgia beat Alabama 33-18. Just a couple years ago, Georgia beat TCU 65-7. Even last year's national championship game, 34-13. So last time we actually had a national championship game, less than 15 points. Again, go back to the 2017-2018 season. So if you're trying to use these blowouts as an excuse for why, give me Bama. Stop.
Looking at you, Paul Fombo.
Please.
Lane Kiffin as well. Very interesting tweet this past weekend.
Quit your whining. Hey, how about you don't lose by 21 to Oklahoma, Alabama? How about you do that? Talk about blowouts. You put up 3 against Oklahoma, who finished 6-6. How'd that Vandy game go? Oh, wait, it didn't. So, yeah, miss me with all that nonsense. Stop.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances.
And it begins with Debbie in Apex. Debbie in Apex, let the grievances air. Debbie, are you there? Debbie in Apex.
My lost Debbie.
Maybe Debbie wanted to go air some grievances somewhere else. Let's go to Barry and Selma. Let's go. What's up, Barry?
Hey, Dennis, I agree with you on what you just said. I'm still upset that my Vikes are 13-2 and still not getting any daggone credit.
Let it air. Air your grievances, Barry.
I'm upset.
You're upset. You know what? You should be. But you know what, Mary? Maybe that's a good thing. Everyone's overlooking your Vikings because everyone's all in on Detroit. Or maybe all in on the Packers.
I think the next 2 weeks we got to play Detroit and Green Bay, so I reckon we'll find out, won't we?
I guess we will find out. Hey, you know what? Win these couple games. You never know. He might be the 1 seed.
And we almost beat Detroit, but it was at Minnesota, so it's probably going to be a little bit tough from Detroit. But we've already beat Green Bay. I wish we could beat them again. I despise Green Bay, too.
Barry, call back anytime, my man.
Hey! Happy Festivus, everyone!
Let's go. Happy Festivus. Let's go to, we have Dean in Rocky Mount. Dean, the airing of grievances, the line is open for you, sir.
I know that I'm kind of ruining the mood here, but I will air some of the positivity of Dan Morgan and Dave Canales.
Go on. Air away.
Where we have been so lucky to have those two this year. In previous years, David Tepper would have put some yes men in charge who he would have said, hey, let's go sign this guy that nobody else wants and isn't good at football. And they'd be like, yes, master, yes, Mr. Tepper. This year, he's got guys who say, we want this culture. This is what we plan to do. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I just am so happy that we have good coaches, good GM. And there's been some of this stuff going on this year where it's like you accidentally get good. Like you bench Bryce Young. You don't really know if he's going to come back. And then he gets a chance to play, balls out, and now he's your starting quarterback for the next 10 years, hopefully. And you have getting Jalen Coker, where he was on the practice squad at the beginning of the year. Anybody could have had him. He was an undrafted free agent. Anybody could have drafted him. Same thing with Damari Richardson. So we've just had a lot of great decisions this year by Dan Morgan, Dave Canales. And I really like the organizational setup for the next 10, 20, even 30 years.
Dean, you make a lot of great points, by the way. Speaking of like the guys that you talked about with Richardson and Coker, you want to talk about finding diamonds in the rough. Undrafted free agents, like you said. Richardson yesterday gets a start over Jordan Fuller. Jordan Fuller was a player that the Panthers signed, Dean, because he had played under Evero previously with the Rams. Hey, this guy knows the system. He can play in the system and all that stuff. They made him a healthy and active yesterday. He was healthy and rough to play, and they said, you know what? We're just going to sit you. We're going to put the undrafted rookie in there. Then sure enough, late in the game when Carolina's leading 30-27, Dean, he makes a big interception. Makes a big-time interception. So, yeah, Dean, you make a great point on that. Great point on that. I will air some grievances about the defense, though, coming up, Dean. I will do that, though. I think there's still a lot of improvement there. But, Dean, maybe the grievances were previously towards David Tepper. Maybe that's your airing of grievance right there, based off what you just said, Dean.
It's a Festivus miracle.
It is the Festivus Miracle. Dean, thank you for the call. Call back anytime. Let's go to Robert, the Trojan horse. I know this guy wants to talk a little bit about UConn versus UNC coming up. What you got, Robert?
Hey, listen, I got a sack of coal, and I'm going to start with Bubba Cunningham, Aiden Banfield, Austin Blasky, Kobe Paysar, Amar Campbell, Ja'Kiah Leftwich. They go and hired sliced bread, not the best thing since sliced bread, but they actually hired sliced bread for a coach. And all these guys entered the portal, and as soon as Belichick is hired, they took their name out of the portal. UNC had 1,400 snaps on the offensive line leaving the program. As a UConn fan, I was hoping that UNC got down to having to dress the band for the game. I wouldn't have cared if they had to dress the band. And I know the whole thing is about Belichick, but there is a bowl game coming up, and it's not looking great. All these guys entered the portal. There's the list keeps. You do understand the list for UNC players that entered the portal and opted to come back to UNC keeps growing as the days go on. So I got nothing but coal for all of them. So that's just what I got to say. But I do. The only caveat is Amari Hampton will not be playing, and I think the game Saturday is going to come down to two players: Amari Hampton not playing, and Bryce Yates for UConn, who had he's a defensive lineman who had concussion problems early in the year, has only been back a few games. I think it's going to be a great game, and I hope we get to talk about it later in the week. But I got nothing but coal for all the players that opted into the portal and opted out. And, Bubba, what did you go and do and hire that guy? Couldn't you wait till after the bowl game? Thank you for taking my call. Bye.
Wow, like lumps of coal out there. I mean, I think Robert's going full Grinch. Awesome. Robert's going full Grinch on this. That's an airing of grievances. I'm going to take all their joy away. That's not airing of grievances. But you know what? These young guys for Carolina, hey, I want to make sure I have my options open when I know my coach is leaving. And I came here to play for this guy. I want to make sure I have my options open because I want to be in control of my situation. I don't blame young guys for doing that. I don't blame anyone for doing that in your own personal work life. You want to be in control of your situation. All right, who am I working for? Where am I working? What are the conditions like? What's this person like to be around? What are my coworkers like? No different than that. You want to be in control of your situation. So these young guys going into the portal saying, hey, what? I want to keep my options open. I don't blame them. They say, Bill Belichick comes back, hey, I'm going to withdraw my name for the portal. I'm no doubt that Bill Belichick talked to them. Hey, I want you to stick around. All right, coach, I'll stick around. No doubt about that. Yeah, Robert, hey, talk about airing of grievances. Lumps of coal for everybody? Ooh, can't wait to check their stockings. 919-860-5FAN, 919-860-5326. We have the sound off, but also an opportunity for you to air your grievances. We have Pat in Durham. Pat, please air your grievances.
Not a whole lot of grievances.
Okay, that's fine.
Great day in the neighborhood. I will say I'm a State fan, and after hearing that last caller, I'm definitely pulling for Carolina tomorrow.
All right. Okay. Interesting.
I didn't know they were playing UConn, but hopefully, I figured it should be a scrimmage for Carolina anyway, playing UConn. But that being said, I'm very happy. I'm a Redskin fan, and I was pulling my hair out with 5 turnovers, but at least we came through yesterday. And, we got a good shot to I can enjoy football for another weekend. I do have a technical question, though.
Sure.
I don't do a lot gambling, especially, on stuff, but you can gamble on anything. And on that commercial where the lady is betting for the guy makes a field goal, she's a Philly fan in a bar. If you make a bet and the guy makes a field goal and he makes it, but they're offsides and the team and the coach takes the first down and takes the field goal off the clock, off the board, takes the 3 points off the board, is that considered being made a field goal by the bookie or not?
That's a good question. So I'm trying to picture your scenario here. So are you saying, like, Is this a made field goal or not a make on a field goal attempt?
Yeah, let's say you make a bet in Vegas that the guy's going to make the field goal, and he does. But the other team jumps off sides. It was fourth down and 4.
Okay.
He says, "Okay, I'll take the first down, take the 3 points off the scoreboard." Now, is the field goal considered being made, and the bookie has to pay, or is who gets paid on that situation, or who doesn't get paid?
So what I've seen a lot of sportsbook do in this situation, Pat, and this is a really good question, that because that play actually never took place, the field goal attempt was never even taken, a lot of sportsbook will actually just return your stake back to you. Like, hey, the field goal was never actually truly attempted. Here's your $5 back or whatever it is that you put towards it. So that's usually what ends up being the case in those kinds of situations. Sometimes you'll see a sportsbook, let's say, for example, like when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, 4 plays into the season last year, if there were player props for that game, let's say 200 passing yards for Aaron Rodgers, what a lot of sportsbook did was, hey, we're going to return those bets back to you, essentially is what they did. So a lot of sports books will do that in that situation. To kind of answer your question.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
Hey, Merry
Pat.
Christmas to all y'all there.
Merry Christmas to you, Pat. And by the way, that was a wild win for your Commanders against Philadelphia yesterday. Jamison Crowder, Duke guy, getting the go-ahead game-winning touchdown for the Commanders. Next up, let's go to Chris in Raleigh. Chris, feel free to air your grievances.
I've got some grievances to air.
Okay, air it out. Let's go.
It's been a tough football season for me, man. I'm an NC State fan, so went into this season high. We got KC Concepcion. We got great players all around him. And somehow we do what? And now KC Concepcion is walking. I'm just going to leave it there. NC State fan, I'm airing some grievances right now.
Chris, I want to ask you this. Did you hear the reports last week that KC Concepcion is in talks with UNC possibly, that UNC reached out to him? How do you feel about that?
Not good. Not good at all. That makes me very upset. Makes me want to air even more grievances, but...
Air away!
Oh, sir. My good friend Bill Belichick is coming with his curse of winning, and I don't get it. UNC just happens to land the best coach of all time, second to Nick Saban, I will say, but lands the best coach of all time. Are you kidding me? And now, after a season of what I consider to be mediocrity, now they go into the offseason and do that? Very upsetting.
Chris, you have plenty of grievances to air. Sir. Thank you for the call. Please call back at any time. And, if you are a State fan, hearing that one of your best offensive players is in talks possibly to go just right down the road to Carolina because Bill Belichick called on 3 first reported it last week. Oh, boy. Now, I'm not saying that's where he's going. Just saying that there was a phone call made. Graham, I can only imagine. Is it bad for me? Is it bad that I want to see it happen? I don't have a dog in the fight for either school. I don't. But is it bad that I want to see it happen just for the drama? Is that bad? Is that bad of me?
The irony of literally the end of last season, after you blew out North Carolina, Dave Doran's call to action is we need this amount of money to go into NIL funding. And part of that was to automatically lock up KC Concepcion. And then a year later, there are rumors that KC Concepcion could be going down 40 westbound to Chapel Hill and possibly playing for UNC. I mean, we're big wrestling fans, you and I, Dennis.
Oh, that we are.
Talk about a heel move. Talk about a steel
that is
chair,
literally turning heel.
Talk about a steel chair shot to the back of Mr. Wolf. And KC Concepcion standing over here in a Carolina blue football jersey.
He's going full Seth Rollins, the architect over
exactly.
here. Is that what he's doing?
That's what he's doing.
I mean, literally, if he goes down to Carolina, he literally will be turning heel. That one.
It's a Festivus miracle.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Those are the airing of grievances. Here are the sound off here for you all. Graham Hill produced the show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly today. I have some more grievances to air, and it's about the Panthers defense, specifically their rush defense. Goodness. That's next on The Drive.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Blank check for a coach or a manager. Smalls, where are you going?
I'm going to go in the NFL, and I'm going to go with someone that I think could probably coach in any sport. But if I know that I'm going to give you a blank check, and that means that you can write your future and stay with me forever, because that's basically what we're doing in this hypothetical here, is it not, Mike Tomlin?
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Has Mother Nature taken a toll on your home? Whether it's storm damage, wear and tear, or just the passage of time, Baker Home Exteriors is Raleigh's trusted expert for all your home repair needs. From roofs, gutters, and siding, to doors, windows, and decks, we have the experience to restore your home. But we don't just fix problems, we improve your home's resilience and aesthetics, giving you peace of mind and pride in your property. Visit BakerRoofing.com to schedule your repair service today.
Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift? Did you know that Bailey's has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for our designer jewelry, fine diamonds, and luxury watches, but we also have a vast selection of beautiful jewelry and gifts under $500. You can make a piece of our Bailey's collection yours this Christmas. Add a little sparkle with the popular Icon Collection Tiny Diamond Hoops in either white, rose, or yellow gold for $395. For only $250, check out our beautiful Sterling Collection Diamonds by the Yard bracelet. Or select one of our Bailey's perfect layering necklaces. For $325, our Gold Mark Station necklace, or for only $275, our Icon Puffed Heart pendant. We're celebrating over 75 years of making holiday gifting easy. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville to see why every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bowberry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bow-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bow time.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Midday Monday in the low 40s. Highs today, mid-to-upper 40s. Overnight low 30s with rain moving in. Brief freezing rain is possible, causing a WRAL weather alert day for early Christmas Eve morning. Christmas Eve afternoon, we're in the low 50s and drier. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Deep River Sport and Clays and Shooting School. Give the gift of a cool experience. Get a Deep River Sport and Clays and Shooting School gift card today. It's right on target. And check out their new merch online at deepriversportandclays.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 66 points at 42,906.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill is producing the show. Here for a Football 4 today. I'm going to go to Sunday's game for the Carolina Panthers. Their defense sucks. The Panthers' defense sucks. Especially their run defense. Goodness. It is bad. Bad. By the way, first of all, the injury stuff, get that talk out of here. The last few weeks, the Panthers have had 9 of their 11 starters healthy. 9 starters healthy. Teams around the NFL would kill for that this time of year. On either side of the ball, to have 9 starters healthy? Just ask Detroit about their injury situation. Buffalo? Teams around the NFL without half of their starters. Whereas Carolina actually has people got healthy and are back and are playing. So yeah, I understand they're without Derek Brown and without Shaq Thompson. Not trying to downplay the significance of those two guys. But you haven't had Derek Brown since week 1. You've had a chance to figure it out. If I remember correctly, Shaq Thompson got hurt, week 3, week 4? You've had a chance to figure it out. Now, I understand Trevin Wallace came in, played a bunch after that. We've spoken highly about Trevin Wallace. I know he's missed a little bit of time recently because of a shoulder injury. He's going to be out the rest of the season. So it's been a revolving door a little bit on the spot next to Josie Jewell. But again, 9 of 11? Don't act like you're the only team in the NFL dealing with injuries. But this rush defense is god-awful. And the numbers back up what my eyes see on a week-in and week-out basis. 14 of 15 games this season, the Panthers have allowed 100 yards or more rushing. 11 of 15 games this season, the opponent has rushed for over 150 yards. In 12 of 15 games this season, other teams have had at least 4.5 yards per carry. 6 times this year, Graham, 6 of 15, they've allowed 200 or more rushing yards, including each of the last 4 games. And of 9 of 15, over half their games, they've allowed 180-plus yards on the ground. That's trash. Actually, trash would be a compliment. That's a steaming, stinking pile. That is awful. This defense needs to change. Simple as that. Schematically and personnel. If you are that dependent on Derek Brown just being there, or if you are that dependent on one guy, then either A, your team's your scheme stinks, and or 2, everything around it is bad. There were guys brought in this offseason. A'Shawn Robinson, who's actually had a pretty good year. He's actually putting up some career numbers in terms of sacks, total tackles, tackles for loss. He's actually been pretty decent this season. Decent. He was part of Evero's scheme in the past, previous places. You brought in DJ Wanham. I know DJ Wanham missed a chunk of time. I get it. You brought in Jadeveon Clowney. I know Josie Jewell, who played under Evero in Denver. I know he missed some games too. I get it. Jordan Fuller, a guy you brought in as well, who played under Evero's scheme. I know he missed a little bit of time in the middle of the season, but guess what? All those guys are healthy and playing right now. All those guys I just mentioned. Heck, J.C. Horns played in every game this season, which, by the way, props to J.C. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season, hey, you're going to get 15 games of J.C. Horn, I've been like, that's awesome. Your starters have been there all season long. Or not all season long. But your starters are there now. And it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. When you actually have your starters, it's gotten worse. Heck, even go back to week 1. So they've played the New Orleans Saints twice this year. The New Orleans Saints have had their second highest rushing total in this game for this season and fourth in the 2 games that they played the Panthers. The LA Chargers, week 2, 219 yards, their best rushing game all season long. The Cincinnati Bengals, week 4, 141 yards, their best rushing game all season long. Chicago Bears, 5th most rushing yards in the game. The Atlanta Falcons, back in week 6, their most rushing yards in a game this season. The New York Giants, who stink, had 167 yards, their second highest rushing total in the game. Kansas City had their second best rushing total in a game this season against the Panthers. Tampa Bay, just a couple games ago, 236 yards, their second highest rushing game this season. The Dallas Cowboys, who aren't that good, had their best rushing game against the Panthers. Even the Arizona Cardinals had their 3rd highest rushing game against the Panthers. Washington, their 214 yards was their 5th highest rushing game this season. If they would have gotten 3 more yards, it would have been their 2nd highest. Like, your defense is a get right for everyone else in the NFL. You want to pad your stats, especially running? This has been the game. This has been the game. "12 of the 15 teams that they've played this season, 12 of the 15 games, like the opponent, it's been one of their top 5 or better rushing performances for that individual team. And even last season, when the personnel was better overall, when you had Derek Brown was healthy, when you had Brian Burns and you had Frankie Louvu, wasn't that much better. It wasn't. Their red zone defense was one of the worst in the NFL in terms of red zone touchdown percentage last season. Sack percentage, believe it or not, their sack percentage is actually better this season than it was last year when you had Brian Burns. Go figure. There's one common denominator in this one, Graham. It's the scheme and the guy that runs it, and he's Ejiro Evero. You can't have literally the worst defense in the NFL and not make a change. You can't have one of the worst defenses in the NFL and not make a change. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Because guess what? If you had a halfway average middle of the pack defense in some of these games, you might win them. Kansas City, Tampa, Philly. Heck, even against Atlanta, it was 28-20 in the 4th quarter. I know Andy Dalton threw a bad interception in that game, but gosh, you were within 1 possession in the 4th quarter. Same with Cincinnati. You lost that one by 10. There has to be a change on defense for this team, schematically and with personnel. I'm not saying there aren't guys you can't keep. Believe it or not, since DJ Wanham has entered the picture against the New York Giants, the pass rush has gotten better overall. But gosh, I remember watching in the first play yesterday, seeing Jadeveon Clowney dropping into coverage. I'm like, you're not playing to that dude's strength. Jadeveon Clowney doesn't drop. That's not what he does. Like, you're not putting guys in their best position to be successful. Gosh, I remember against the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, we're just going to make sure CeeDee Lamb lines up in the slot so he can cook Jordan Fuller. Oh, a guy that you brought in to be part of Evero's defense because he played with it previously. And then he ends up being a healthy extra this past Sunday. And plays for Damani Richardson. Oh, who just happened to actually have a big interception late in the game off a pretty terrible throw by Kyler Murray. But hey, he came up with it. Something Jordan Fuller wasn't doing. Saw Mike Evans against Tampa line up in the slot and just cook dudes because the scheme won't allow J.C. Horn to go line up against the top guy. This whole season, when you're dealing with injuries, you're married to a scheme as opposed to, hey, you know what? What are my guys actually capable of doing and how can I best make this work? You didn't do that. And now that you actually have your guys back, still can't do it. You still get gashed. Look at the last 5 games, yards per carry. Heck, I'll go to the last 7 games, yards per carry. New Orleans, 4.8. Giants, 4.9. Kansas City, 6.3. Tampa, 6.1. Philly, 6.7. Dallas, 5.3. Arizona, 7.1. It got worse when you actually had guys back. It's scheme and there's talent. I think you keep A'Shawn Robinson. You know Derek Brown's coming back. I don't think Shaq Thompson's going to be coming back. He's had an Achilles and a broken leg, and his age and contract, he's probably not coming back after this year. JC's someone you're worth keeping. But sure, keep Josie Jewell, but this team needs an overhaul massively on defense. Massively. And Dan Morgan, this offseason, when they put together this roster, there's a reason why guys got short contracts. Jordan Fuller's on a 1-year deal. Jadeveon Clowney's on a 2-year deal, which you can get out from and save about $8 million in cap space this offseason. You could do that. You could do that. Man, it's been tough. Tough watching this defense. There's got to be a change. Again, that's why I understand. Like, look, someone in our YouTube chat said total rush yards can be misleading. Yeah, I get that. That's why I look at yards per carry. But yeah, total rush yards can be a little misleading in certain games, but not when you've given up 180 yards or more in 9 of 15 games. This is who you are. This isn't like a 1 or 2 game anomaly. This is literally who you are. They have the worst yards per carry defensively in the entire league at 5.1. This is who they are. It stinks. Yeah, yards per game can be misleading, except when you're dead last. Oh, misleading to what? 26th? You're still terrible. Fix this defense. Fix it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Graham Hill producing the show today. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. If you missed any of the show, check it out on the Best of the Drive podcast, wherever you find your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we are there. Also, 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page. I just mentioned it a moment ago. Go subscribe to that, please. Love the community that's been built there. We love when people interact in the comment section, whether it's on the live stream or in the videos that we produce and we post, whether it's from this show, the Adam Gold Show, which precedes the Drive, from Panthers Playbook, Kane's Corner with Adam Gold, you name it, Pack Therapy, which Graham Hill produces. It's all out there. Leave your thoughts. Interact. We love reading the comments and interacting with each and every one of you. Be part of that community there with us. On the other side, Graham and I are going to try and make some money, but also of the 4 ACC schools in the state of North Carolina who had the best week last week. We'll give you the podium next.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook. The Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
And the Panthers win in overtime. 21-yard run by Chuba Hubbard. Sweet Caroline one more time in 2024.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
John Heister is playing Santa with the Wrap Up the Year sales event at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Now is the time to wrap up a big, beautiful present for yourself for 20% off. Ho, ho, ho! Put yourself in the driver's seat of any new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn for 20% off right now at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. See dealer for all the details. You've been good this year, so get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Art tells a story, your story, and inspires others in your community to do the same. AARP is celebrating the undeniable impact and contributions of Black art and artists everywhere. We're thrilled to celebrate these creators over 50. Through their work and persistence, they make society a better place by bringing us all closer together. Learn more at aarp.org/Black community.
An army never rests. The same is true for the Salvation Army of Wake County. Serving the most vulnerable populations in our community, the Army shelters the homeless, feeds the hungry, provides after-school and youth athletic programs, senior programs, and responds to natural disasters. Beyond the red kettle and Christmas bell ringing, the Army is there to help those in need all year long. Learn more at wakearmy.org. The Salvation Army. We love beyond the holidays.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
We know you have a lot on your holiday to-do list. And at the UPS store, we're here to help. With our pack and ship guarantee, your gifts will arrive intact or you'll be reimbursed. Got holiday cards to print? We're also the premier printing store. We've got everything you need for every way you holiday. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
I'm just going to go ahead and brag real fast, Graham. Our girlfriend got me the Carolina Hurricanes starter jacket from the team I throw for Christmas. Not going to lie, it's pretty dope. It's pretty awesome. I wore it into the office today. I was like, yep, I'm rocking this thing. It's fun. I love it. By the way, the Canes made fun of you today.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if I could get Stormy a bag of coal, I definitely would this Christmas because he absolutely did me dirty in the Carolina Hurricanes' most recent post on Twitter.
So, yeah, if you go, I'm sure it's on their Instagram as well. They did like a promotional post going around a tailgate that you were at recently at a game. You were tailgating with some friends and such, and you're trying out some popcorn. And sure enough, the popcorn like fell out of your mouth, and they just put like a shadow over you and just like an X, like just highlighting the fail of the popcorn just falling out of your mouth as you were trying to eat it.
Look, for all intents and purposes, one, thank you to the Carolina Hurricanes and Stormy and Harris Teeter for coming by and giving us some holiday cheer at that tailgate. But as you mentioned, it was on a Sunday. It was a 5 o'clock puck drop. I believe it was the game against the Blue Jackets.
Okay, yeah, Columbus.
We were having a little bit of a Sunday fun. That's all I say. That's why the popcorn had some trouble reaching its target.
Okay.
But, Stormy, come on, man. I thought we were cool. I thought we were buddies. Maybe somebody inside the Canes social media team's been listening to me bashing them a little too much on Next Up.
Well, hey, now. Easy.
They got that win
Maybe that's why.
Maybe
that's why.
Maybe that's why. Maybe
that's why. But look at Graham getting out here getting famous by the Canes. Just check out Graham Hill on social media. You will find his new profile pic. It is wonderful. It is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly today. Graham Hill producing the show. Before we get into our podium about who had the best team, who had the best week in the state of North Carolina among the 4 ACC schools, first let's go ahead and get into our ladder challenge. As Graham and I try and make some money We're just going to have some fun with it today. Graham, we're each going to have 3 picks. I'm going to go ahead and get things started. Green Bay taking on the New Orleans Saints. This one should be easy. Green Bay at minus 950 to win on the money line. Simple as that Monday Night Football.
Taking them straight up. I am also going to go with the Saints and Packers game tonight, Monday Night Football. You can listen to play-by-play coverage actually on 620 AM Buzz Sports Radio, 99.9 FM HD2, just because it is a hockey night in Carolina. We'll get to that in just a second. But Saints at Packers, give me Josh Jacobs over 2.5 receptions at plus 112.
Oh,
Dennis,
okay.
this is actually hit in 2 of the Packers' last 3 games.
Okay.
This is pretty much like this is like an in-game practice for the Packers.
Yeah.
A lot of the backers are playing for the Saints. It's a Monday night game in Lambeau before Christmas.
Nice.
The atmosphere is going to be crazy. Also, I have Josh Jacobs in fantasy, so I need him to produce. So why not make some money as well if I can do it?
All right, I love it. Canes, they're in action tonight taking on the Nashville Predators. Give me Canes just to win this one outright, minus 125.
Let me get back on the Canes' good side. More specifically, Brent Burns, even though I haven't really said anything bad about Brent Burns. I've been liking the production that we've been seeing from the defenseman lately in the last couple of games. So give me Brent Burns over 2.5 shots on goal at plus 146. I don't know what it is about Nashville, but Brent Burns thinks he can score on the Preds. He's actually hit this 3 in his last 4 games when they've gone up against the Predators. So Brent Burns over 2.5 shots on goal plus 146.
Okay, look at you getting in the shots on goal. Look at you. That's usually my territory.
I was about to say I learned from the best.
That you do. I went on a heater with a lot of shots on goal. Give me the Charlotte Hornets. They're at home taking on the Houston Rockets. Give me the upset. Hornets plus 210 over the Houston Rockets.
I see outside of the Packers and Saints game, you were going with all North Carolina sports teams in action tonight.
Darn right.
I wish I had thought to do that. Instead, I'm going with Washington at Boston. Odd game. But let's go with the former Carolina Hurricanes, Morgan Geekie, anytime point at plus 113, has hit in 3 of the Bruins' last 4 games.
All right, Morgan Geekie. There it is. All right, so that's the ladder challenge. Graham, let's go ahead. By the way, coming up in 10 minutes, we're going to have first goal scorer for the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll have that coming up, so make sure you stay locked in. But until then, let's have the podium. So here on the podium, we look at the 4 ACC schools in the state of North Carolina. And we go based off this past week, so this Monday to Sunday. Who had the best week? Is it Wake Forest? Maybe it's Carolina. Maybe it's Duke. Maybe it's State. Let's go and bring up the podium, Graham. Let's go with off the podium. It's Wake Forest. Wake Forest... by the way, we're going strictly just college basketball right now. Strictly just college basketball with these decisions. All right? It's kind of hard to go with like transfer portal and all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. So, we're going to go strictly with basketball. We're all in on basketball season now. Wake Forest, congratulations on Tuesday last week. You beat James Madison 75-58. Like you're supposed to. At home at the Joel. But you go on the road to take on Clemson. Clemson at the time ranked 25th in the country. Wake Forest just needs to actually have a win on the road. They need a win outside of the Joel, or actually just outside of the Triad in general. Earlier this season, they beat Michigan 72-70. Technically a neutral site game. It was played at the Greensboro Coliseum. It was 20 minutes down the road. It's a home game. They go on the road to Xavier, lose. They play a neutral site game down in Orlando against Florida, lose. Go on the road to Texas A&M, lose. Hey, home against Minnesota, win. Home against Boston College, win. Really, a home game against Michigan, win. Go on the road to Clemson, 73-62 loss. You are who you are, which right now, Wake Forest can't win on the road.
Does it feel
Simple as that.
Does it feel like we're sort of seeing a rinse, wash, and repeat of Wake Forest basketball literally from last season? Up and down, and mostly losses coming on the road.
Yeah.
I get home court advantage is one thing, but if you want to make it in the NCAA tournament, you got to get used to playing outside your comfort zone.
Well said. Well said. All right, so that's off the podium. Let's go to the bronze this week. Let's go to the NC State Wolfpack. Big win on Sunday, 89-63 over Rider. Scoring was spread throughout the lineup. By the way, Kevin Keats, that game, they got an early out to a big lead early in that game. Kevin Keats, head coach of NC State, did talk about creating some separation early in that contest.
Yeah, you know what? We wanted to establish ourselves defensively. You know, I've talked about this. You know, sometimes you can come out flat, but that doesn't mean that you got to give up baskets because you're not scoring, and we really emphasize that. The one thing that we did this week that we've done different is we played a bunch of small games. We played a bunch of 4-minute games, and putting them in situations where you're up 10, down 10. We wanted to, you know, instead of drills, I think sometimes as coaches we can over-drill, and in drills you know where you're supposed to be. But when you're playing a game, you know, guys are in different places, and I thought it paid off for us, and we were better, and I thought we got better in some areas.
Did exactly what they needed to do, right, Graham? Against a school like Rider, it's your last tune-up before ACC play. It's your last tune-up. Pretty much everyone got to play. And by everyone, I mean like down the bench. Everyone got to play in that game, got out to the big lead. But it's the game you played this week, and it's not the toughest of competition, so that's why NC State falls in at bronze from this past week. Let's go to our silver. Duke, the Blue Devils. This past week, Duke got a win over George Mason, which a lot of the players, they said, acknowledged, hey, you know what, that's actually a little bit of an underrated, overlooked team in George Mason. They have an ACC build to them in terms of what their lineup looks like. But then you go on the road against Georgia Tech, and you absolutely take care of business against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 82-56. Again, after earlier in the week, on Tuesday last week, beating George Mason 68-47. But this time you went on the road to Georgia Tech, and you took care of business, 82-56. John Shire, how much he has seen this team evolve already this season?
I think we've grown so much. You know, just the togetherness, the toughness, and specifically the thing that's grown the most is our defense. You know, I look back on that game, our defense wasn't close, you know, to where it is now, and that's going to be what drives us the whole year. And this team has embraced it. Con knows it, and again, we'll see 33 days from now, and we have to continue to grow.
Part of that evolution is, if you're Duke, have Con Knippel being a consistent threat. And by consistent, I mean, I guess, efficient threat. Con Knippel scored 18 points against Georgia Tech. Most points that he scored since the opener against Maine, where he scored 22. In that game against Georgia Tech, he was 4 of 8 from 3. That's awesome. You'll take 4 of 8 from 3 any day. It's the 5th time this season he's attempted 8+ 3-pointers in a game. He was 3 for 8 against Maine, 1 for 8 against Kentucky, 0 for 8 against Kansas, 2 for 9 when they played on the road at Louisville, and again, as I mentioned, 4 of 8 against Georgia Tech. Best he shot overall in a game this season, he was 7 of 11. Again, I know if you look at the stats, he went 4 or 5 against Seattle. He was just 2 of 3 against Auburn. I get it. But in terms of efficiency with this volume, it's the best he's shot this season since the season opener against Maine when he went 8 of 14. So yeah, good win for Duke on the road to really, truly kick off ACC play. Which leads us into our gold, Graham, North Carolina. Now I understand that North Carolina was 1-1 this past week, but they also played the toughest schedule. They played the toughest schedule. They played Florida, lost that game 90-84, had to scratch and claw their way back. They actually took a lead late in that game, but just wasn't able to finish things out late. But then against UCLA, down 17, slowly chipped away. North Carolina gets a 76-74 win. Neutral site at Madison Square Garden in the CBS Sports Invitational. They get that win. They got that big win that they needed over a ranked team. To me, that gives them the gold, Graham. Simple as that. They get the gold in this one. Graham, if you can, pull up the Hubert Davis sound cut about the offensive rebounding for Carolina. Just let me know when you have that. the offensive rebounding was there for Carolina despite going with a really small lineup, and Hubert Davis made note of it.
It was huge for the team. You know, we were talking in the huddle, and we were up by one after RJ made the free throw, a little bit over 10 seconds to go, and we talked about being in that situation in the past, and for us not getting the box out, costing us a win, and that all we needed was one stop. And I was just really proud of them. You know, for them to be able to get the rebound, for them to be able to get the stop and to step up in that situation to be able to win. UCLA is a really good offensive rebounding team, and we were able to out-rebound them, and I thought that was a huge determining factor for us winning today.
Yeah, it was. It was a big factor for North Carolina. Also a big factor was Ian Jackson. Graham, you can pull up the soundbite of Hubert Davis talking about Ian Jackson. Let me know when you have that. Sorry, I did not have you prepped for that. But Ian Jackson was phenomenal. 24 points, led all scorers. He was back in his home area, city of New York City. He's from the Bronx, playing at MSG. Here's Hubert Davis talking about his young freshman.
Well, he's still a freshman, you know, but I'm just really proud of him. Obviously, just it has nothing to do about today. Every day after practice, he always sends me a text and he says, "Coach Davis, that's it." And so I have to call. I go, "Player Jackson," and he goes, "How can I improve? What can I do better?" Every day, he does that, and that's the thing. When you're around great kids like RJ and Ian, and you get to coach them, and they want to be coached. That's the biggest. Like, that's really enjoyable and fun for me.
Yeah, Ian Jackson was awesome. Hubert Davis really leaned into the four guards. We saw Cadeau, R.J. Davis. We saw Seth Trimble and Ian Jackson on the floor together a bunch in that win against UCLA. Maybe that's the evolution of this team. Lean into what you have. Simply lean into what you have. That's the podium. Wake off the podium. NC State bronze, Duke silver, UNC with the gold. Graham, it's that time. It is that time. Folks, it's time for you to call in for our first goal scorer prediction. 919-860-5326. We need 3 contestants. 919-860-5326. The winner. If you get our first goal scorer right. So we need who's going to score the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes and in what period. And if you get that correct, you win an Apex Racing Lab gift card. The ultimate sim racing experience is at Apex Racing Lab. Rev up your engines at Apex Racing Lab, the Triangle's largest sim racing destination. Experience the ultimate thrill with 20 cutting-edge simulators, expert instructors, and world-class visual tracks located in Cary's McGregor Village in the greater Raleigh area. Visit Apex Racing Lab today and unleash your racing passion. Learn more at apexracinglab.com. Again, apexracinglab.com. As Graham is getting our contestants, by the way, feel free on our YouTube live stream to give us your prediction about who's going to score the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes as they take on the Nashville Predators tonight in Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. Again, we need our 3 callers, 919-860-5326, 919-860-5326. So we need people to call in to give their first goal scorer prediction. Again, if you win, if you get it correct, you will get a gift card to Apex Racing Labs. Apex Racing Labs. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and give you my prediction. I think tonight, 3rd game in 4 nights for Carolina. Sunday afternoon in Madison Square Garden, they get a win. A couple nights earlier that, loss on Friday night against Washington on the road. So 3rd game in 4 days, all on the road. To me, this is where the depth guys, quote unquote, start to show up. Can you really lean on some of these? Because, you know, Aho, Svetch, some of these other guys are getting a lot of heavy minutes. This is where the depth guys come in. Go ahead and give me Tyson Jost late in the first period gets the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. But we have our 3 contestants. Let's go to Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah, I need who scores the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes and in what period?
Okay, I think it's going to be Jack Roslovic in the first period, and I think Kochekhov's going to get another assist for him.
Okay, I like this. All right, Jack Roslovic in the first period. Pyotr Kochetkov yesterday had 2 assists. Yesterday, 2 of their 3 goals. Kochetkov had 2 assists yesterday. Isaiah, I like this. Stay on the line. I think Graham may have to get some a little bit more information from you, but stay on the line. All right, let's go to Ben in Wake Forest. Ben, who's your first goal scorer predictor? You can't do Roslovic in the first. You can do Roslovic in the second or third, or have someone else in the first. But who do you have as the first goal scorer for the Canes?
I'm going to go with Svechnikov in the first. He's going to hit his sweet spot, and it's going to be a beauty of a shot.
Okay, I like this. Svetch in the first, absolutely sniping one. Ben, I love this. I absolutely love this. All right, stay on the line. Everyone from Wake Forest is calling, apparently. The entire Wake Forest. Maybe they're skating up there, and they're all listening for some Cane stuff they're at the factory up there in Wake Forest. Let's go to Zach in Wake Forest. Zach, who's your first goal scorer?
I'm actually sitting right next to the factory right now, so I'm actually going to go with Jordan Martinook in the first.
See, I told you. Told everyone they're skating up there at the factory. Jordan Martinook in the first. I like this. That line with Stahl, Martinook, sometimes Carrier, sometimes Fetch, depending on who it is, but really it's been Carrier a lot lately. I'm liking it. I'm digging what those guys have been doing. William Carrier with another goal the other night. I'm liking it. Zach, stay on the line, and Graham's got to get some information from you real quick. Actually, Graham, before you get everyone's info,
Yep.
Who's your first goal scorer prediction?
Well, in my ladder challenge, I had Brent Burns over 2.5 shots on goal as one of my predictions. So why not just take Brent Burns in the first period? A defenseman to get the scoring going tonight.
Brent Burns in the first. It's interesting how Roslovic first, Svetch in the first. That's from Ben. Isaiah with Roslovic in the first. And then Martinook in the first. I said Tyson Jost. You go Brent Burns. No one went Aho. No one went Jarvis. No one went with Natchez. No one went Shane Gostisbehere, the leaders.
That has to be a record.
It might be.
That has to be a record for the first time in a while that nobody's going with kind of the obvious guys that maybe you think would get the scoring going for the Hurricanes. Maybe that just shows how much depth this team really has.
Maybe. But again, if any of you guys win, you will win a gift card to Apex Racing Lab, the ultimate sim racing experience. Again, stay on the line. Graham might need to get some information from you. By the way, on the other side, there are some trends with the Carolina Hurricanes that stand out to me right now. Some good, some not so great about the Carolina Hurricanes. Some trends that I'm noticing that maybe you have noticed as well. We'll have that coming up.
Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in all of the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. The betting options feel endless on DraftKings. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD, that's code TIMD with no spaces, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. This holiday season, why not give a gift that truly shines? At Bailey's, we believe in making every moment special, and our carefully curated selection of fine jewelry is sure to bring joy to your loved ones. From stunning diamonds to designer jewelry and luxury watches, we have the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Gift the magic of a Bailey box and make this Christmas unforgettable. Visit us today in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a Big Bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's Bo time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill producing us here on The Fan. When it comes to a sport like hockey or even basketball, I'll include that as well, but especially when we look at the Carolina Hurricanes, I don't try and look at like a game-by-game type thing in terms of, is this an indictment of what this team is on a game-by-game basis? You're playing 82 of these things. It's not like the NFL where I feel like we just overreact to a win or a loss and how it all happened. I try and look at trends. And even for football, I try and do that to an extent as well. So some things that have stood out to me for the Carolina Hurricanes. Recent trends. Special teams are good. Call it what it is. Special teams are good. Specifically the penalty kill. Going through Sunday's game against the New York Rangers, 24 of the last 24 penalties killed. It's phenomenal. That's absolutely outstanding. Now, it's also part of a couple things. One, penalty killers in front. If you're suppressing shots, clearing the puck out of the zone, doing all those things, well, guess what? You're not giving up scoring opportunities. But also the goaltending's been pretty phenomenal overall. So that's first thing. The second one, Graham, where'd Martin Necas go? Where did Martin Necas go?
He hasn't scored a goal, actually, since December 5th against the Avalanche.
It's been a minute. He only has 1 point in the last 5 games. 1 point in the last 5 games. And even if you look at some of the more specific things in terms of just the shots on goal, he had 1 shot on goal this past game against the Rangers. I say up to Sunday against the Rangers. Against Washington, 3 shots on goal. Against the Islanders, no shots on goal. Only 1 against Columbus, 3 against Ottawa. It's a little concerning for me. This was actually my concern for Martin Necas after the hot run that he was on. Is that, all right, what are you going to provide him when things get cold? Because we knew it was going to happen at some point. There's no way that he was going to be maintaining this 1.5 per game or point per game plus. There's no way he was going to maintain that. It's just simply hard to do. I mean, unless you are truly one of the top guys. And I'm talking the Nikita Kucherovs, the Connor McDavids, the Nathan McKinnons. Even they go through stretches where they're not putting up points. So yeah, Martin Necas has kind of gone cold a little bit. Like you mentioned, it's been since December 5th against Colorado with a goal. So you're looking at twice against the Islanders, San Jose, Ottawa, Columbus, Washington, Rangers, 7 games where he hasn't scored a goal. And over those 7 games, just 3 assists. He's also been a minus player. That's actually probably the most concerning thing to me. He's a -5 during those 7 games. Now, again, you look at his overall season numbers, still looking at 14 goals, 30 assists, +2 rating overall. But where'd you go, buddy? Where'd you go? Now, we have also seen a little bit of an uptick, I would say, from Sebastian Aho. Maybe that helps as well. Maybe that helps ease the pain a little bit, I guess you can say. Because you look at Sebastian Aho from Columbus on December 15th through the game against the New York Rangers on the 22nd, 3 goals, 2 assists total, and a +2 rating overall. That's good. Like, that's the kind of production that you want to see from Sebastian Aho. And also, if you look at overall, just over the last several games, if you actually go back to Thanksgiving, there's only been 2 games where he didn't register a point. He had points against Seattle, Colorado, the Islanders, San Jose, against Columbus, 2 against the Islanders again, against Washington, against the Rangers. 8 of 10 games, he's registered a point. 8 of 10. With 2 of them being multi-point games. So literally in the last 10 games, 10 points overall, which is good. Now, you still want to continue to add to what he's been doing, but he has stepped up his game quietly, has ramped up his game over the last couple weeks of the season, over the last month, which is what you want. And I think part of that is because of the way Rob Brindamore has been shuffling his lines a little bit. Early in the season, we saw Jack Roslovic start off hot, like white hot, with the goal scoring. And he was skating on a line often with Sebastian Aho. Sometimes Svechnikov, sometimes others, depending on what the injuries were. Jack Roslovic was getting a lot of the goal production. Sebastian Aho early in the season was not scoring. Gosh, there was a stretch from Halloween, literally October 31st to November 13th, during that 7-game stretch where Aho didn't score. But now, you're starting to see the production come back from Sebastian Aho. Now, it's been a lot of assists, but over the last 3 of the last 4 games, you're starting to see goals come back. But you are starting to see production. Look, I understand people are going to say against the New York Rangers, it's an empty netter, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? You earn empty netters too. You earn those as well. But Martin H's, not saying he has to be a point plus or a 1.5 per game guy, Graham. He doesn't have to be that on a night in and night out basis. It's hard to do. But is it too soon, Graham, to start putting his face on the milk carton and be like, hey, Martin H's, where'd you go?
I don't know. I mean, I think about Sebastian Aho went through this at the beginning of the season, even went through it last year. Seth Jarvis, too, went through it a little bit until he had the the 2-on-1 goal on the assist from Aho. So it's just a little bit of a slump maybe. But the good news with the Carolina Hurricanes in these most recent games is that you're starting to see their depth show a lot more as far as seeing guys like William Carrier score, Jacob Slavin along with Jordan Stahl. I mean, it's good that you're starting to see some distribution kind of equal out around this roster right now. And they're not having to rely on Martin H's, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, do it consistently night in and night out.
I'm with you on that. Night in and night out, being able to consistently find the back of the net or have other guys chip in and contribute.
But Jack Roslovic starting to score again. That's good to see.
That's really great to see. He's also missing teeth now. So I don't know if anyone saw that on Sunday against the New York Rangers. Takes a high stick, literally has to go to the locker room, literally just spitting teeth out of his mouth, spitting chiclets.
Dude, man, credit to him. The toughness that he had to have to get his teeth chipped and then comes right back out and like a couple minutes later scores a goal for the Canes.
He's like, hey, I played for this team last year. Now y'all just high sticking me, taking teeth from me. But again, these are guys that are paid to be top guys. Again, I'm talking about Aho, Natchez, Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, if you look back since Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving was November 28th. Since then, it's 2 goals, no assists. 2 goals, 0 assists.
Now, see, there's a guy that needs to take advantage of the moment with Jack Drury being out for extended amount of time.
Yes, absolutely. Jack Drury's out. Guess what? You get more minutes as a result. Jesperi Kotkaniemi. You get some power play time. Not a ton because you're not on quote-unquote top unit. But here's your chance, man. You are paid to be the quote-unquote number 2 center for this team. Or number 2 scoring center for this team. Because we all know how Rob Brindamore feels about Jordan Staal, right? Jordan Staal is your shutdown guy. We all know it. Aho's your top guy. Who's next? Kokaniemi. It's supposed to be you. But since Thanksgiving, 2 goals, no assists. Even go to the last 3 games. So if you look at the New York Rangers, the Washington Capitals, the New York Islanders, doesn't even have a shot on goal in those games. Doesn't even have a shot on goal in those games. Go to the back-to-back right after Thanksgiving. You played against Florida at home, then you went on the road at Florida, didn't have a shot on goal. Play against Seattle, didn't have a shot on goal. Just looking at the last, again, since Thanksgiving, he's only cracked more than 1 shot twice. That's it. More than 1 shot on goal just twice during that stretch. You can't disappear like this when you are paid to be one of the top guys. You can't disappear. This team is counting on you. You got an 8-year deal with this team for a reason. The skill is there. You were the 3rd pick overall for a reason. The skill's there. Maybe this is the ebb and flow of a team. We all know it. Aho, as you mentioned, Graham, slow to start the year a little bit. Kokaniemi actually was playing decent. Martin Necas was also scoring a bunch during that time. Necas has kind of slowed down, but then Aho's starting to come around a little bit. Andrei Svechnikov starting to come around a little bit. Seth Jarvis coming off the injury, maybe starting to come around a little bit as well. Then you also look at guys like Shane Gostisbehere, ramped back up. He was hot to start the year, had a little bit of a dip. He's ramped back up. It's the ebb and flow of a team. But this is also a Carolina Hurricanes team that if you look at the standings in the league right now, and it's like, oh, well, it's still kind of early in the year. Well, guess what? The midpoint of the year is approaching. 33 games in. By the time the end of the calendar year hits, you're going to be looking at closer to that 40 mark. You're going to be hitting close to the midpoint of the season very soon. And these games where, for example, where you played the Washington Capitals on the road, that's a 4-point game. By 4 points, meaning if you win, draw closer. If you lose, it's 2 points for the other team, and you don't gain anything. 4 points. It's a massive difference. And sure enough, you play the same number of games of the Washington Capitals, and you're 5 points behind them. If you have won that game in Washington, you're sitting at 45 points. They're sitting at 46. So now it's a 1-point difference as opposed to 5 in the standings. So that's where you're sitting right now. This is still a really, really good hockey team. But in terms of points percentage, you're 3rd in the Metro. Slightly behind New Jersey Devils and obviously the Washington Capitals being that top team in terms of points percentage. Look at the conference as a whole. Yeah, you're 5th in the Eastern Conference in terms of points percentage. You're making the playoffs. You really are. But the last thing you want to have happen, you don't want to slip further and further down to where you're going on the road in the first round of the playoffs against the New Jersey Devils. Don't want to be doing that. Can this team all get on the same page at the same time? Pyotr Kochetkov played some lights-out goaltending lately. He really has. He's played some lights-out goaltending lately. Made 22 saves and some dandies against the New York Rangers on Sunday night. Can this team put it all together at the right time? Yeah, your top guys got to be top guys on a night in and night out basis, on a consistent basis. Not saying you got to be a point every single night, but your averages for your top guys need to be close to that. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill is producing us. Take a quick break. On the other side, our starting 5, the 5 biggest takeaways from this past weekend in sports. Next on The Fan.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Jordan Martinook to the rebound, and this line is delivering the presents around Christmas.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 7:30. Puck drop at 8.
Aho sends it across. Robinson back to Aho. They score! Roll the highlight reel, Sebastian Aho. Merry Christmas.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with cold hard cash.
Anyone else?
Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch.
New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Sammy Hanna, owner-operator of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Are you feeling the spirit of the holiday, sir?
We love the holidays, Adam, and we are feeling the spirit. It's been a great year. Just want to thank everybody out there, our listeners, our homeowners, our employees, everyone involved that makes the Aluminum Company great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Or do you get the sense that people ask for like green or red siding during this time of the year?
We have not gotten a request for green or red siding, but that is something we can always try and accommodate. We're here to help our homeowners with any concern they want to do.
You can do green or red metal roofing.
We can. Yes, we can.
Do they ever stripe it like green and then red and then green and then red?
We have not had that request yet, Adam, but we're here to accommodate any homeowner request.
Sometimes you just really feel the spirit of the holiday.
And we can accommodate.
Happy holidays to you. Thank you very much for all you do for us, for sponsoring my hockey podcast.
Happy holidays.
Appreciate that. AluminumCompany.com.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Not available in Washington State.
Discover the thrill of precision and elegance with Omega this holiday season. From the depths of the ocean to the heights of space, Omega's Seamaster and Speedmaster collections are crafted for those who dare to explore. With a heritage rooted in innovation and a timeless style inspired by sports, space, and cinematic legends, Omega is the gift for every adventurer. Find your perfect watch at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted best jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Dry weather for travel this evening and early tonight, but we're watching 2 to 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. There could be a brief window of freezing rain that leads to some slick bridges. Not expecting this to be a widespread issue. After 7 a.m., temperatures are back above freezing, 50 degrees the high with only showers early.
Weather update brought to you by Deep River Sport and Clays and Shooting School. Give the gift of a cool experience. Get a Deep River Sport and Clays and Shooting School gift card today. It's right on target. And check out their new merch online at deepriversportandclays.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones closes up 66 points at 42,906.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Hope everyone is getting set and ready for the holiday festivities. But until then, Graham, Let's get into the starting five.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
UNC basketball got a massive win over the weekend. Massive win. 76-74 over UCLA. They went with their small lineup. By the way, Ian Jackson coming off the bench, 24 points, 8 of 13 shooting. He was awesome. Absolutely awesome. The freshman from New York City, from the Bronx. The game was played in Madison Square Garden. Sure, no doubt it was special for him to be playing at the Garden in such a high-stakes game against a big-time team. 2 blue blood programs, UCLA and UNC. Kind of stinks, by the way, that this game somewhat got buried a little bit with all the college football playoff games, Graham, that were taking place, as well as the NFL games, because you had Chiefs taking on the Texans, and you also had Steelers, Ravens. So to me, it kind of got buried a little bit. It is what it is, but overall, still a great game. Hubert Davis, the head coach, leaned into the small lineup. There's a ton of times for long stretches you saw Elliot Cadeau, R.J. Davis, Seth Trimble, Ian Jackson all on the floor together. Ian Jackson's the tallest of that four. It's like 6'3", 6'4", maybe. That's it. Cadeau and R.J. Davis are 6 foot, 6'1". Seth Trimble's 6'3". Ian Jackson's 6'3", 6'4". And then you would have, one guy down the post, whether it be Van Allen Lubin, Jalen Withers, or Jalen Washington. But Hubert Davis leaned into the small lineup. And guess what? Your guards have to rebound, especially on the offensive glass. Easy for me to say. Hubert Davis said they knew how important getting those offensive boards were.
It was huge for the team. We were talking in the huddle, and we were up by 1 after RJ made the free throw, a little bit over 10 seconds to go, and we talked about being in that situation in the past, and for us not getting the box out costing us a win, and that all we needed was one stop. And I was just really proud of them. For them to be able to get the rebound, for them to be able to get to stop and to step up in that situation to be able to win. UCLA is a really good offensive rebounding team, and we were able to out-rebound them, and I thought that was a huge determining factor for us winning today.
Yeah, Hubert Davis leaned into the guards, also leaned into the youth. Drake Powell starting once again. Ian Jackson off the bench played the second most minutes for Carolina. Second only to R.J. Davis. He's starting to trust his young guys further. And there's a reason why Ian Jackson on the floor late in the game. You start to earn that trust. Big win for Carolina. They needed it. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Duke basketball got a big win over Georgia Tech this past weekend. On the road, 82-56. To me, this was the game that Con Knippel, their freshman guard from Wisconsin, needed. He's been kind of up and down this season, Graham, but you've seen some games where he's gone through some rough stretches. For example, 1 of 8 from behind the three-point line against Kentucky. 0 for 8 against Kansas. Some tough days shooting for him. Again, freshman. But in this game, 7 of 11 shooting. 4 of 8 from behind the arc. 18 points. 18 points, the most points since the season opener against Maine where he had 22.
Yeah, I didn't realize it had been that tough of a stretch for him.
Yeah. It's been up and down. Yeah, against when they played Seattle, 4 of 5 shooting. Okay. 4 or 5. You're playing against lesser competition at home. Not a lot of stakes in that game. You're also probably not getting a lot of hands in the face. A little bit more easier shots. Against Auburn, he only took 3 shots against Auburn. Now, granted, Duke won that game, but he only took 3 shots. He was 2 of 3, but still only took 3 shots in that game. Again, up and down. 0 for 8 from behind the arc against Kansas. 1 for 8 against Kentucky. He had a solid day on Saturday. If Knippel can be, again, consistently efficient with his shooting, not just, I'm going to take 12 shots, and I might get 13, 14 points. Consistently efficient. If he can be that, this Duke team can only take off even further. You can't rely on Cooper Flagg to be your top scorer and top defender and top rebounder and lead ball handler every single night. He can't wear that hat every single game, night in and night out. Sometimes someone else is going to have to be the leading scorer. Sometimes someone else might have to be the leading rebounder. Sometimes someone else might have to be the primary ball handler. Against Georgia Tech, Concanipple wore that hat of, I'll be the leading scorer today. I mean, Cooper Flagg still played well, 15 points, still had a really good game. But teams are going to focus on that guy for obvious reasons. But this team is growing, and they played a tough schedule early in the year to really challenge themselves, and they are growing throughout the year. John Shire, their head coach, talk about how much this team has evolved already.
I think we've grown so much. You know, just the togetherness, the toughness, and specifically the thing that's grown the most is our defense. You know, I look back on that game, our defense wasn't close, to where it is now, and that's going to be what drives us the whole year. And this team has embraced it. Con knows it, and again, we'll see 33 days from now, and we have to continue to grow.
33 days from now, or I guess from back on Saturday, is when Duke takes on Georgia Tech again. So, growth from this team. Speaking of defense, I coach college lacrosse. Hearing John Shire talk about defense, hearing Rob Brittamore talk about the defensive side of things. We preach often, hey, look, if you can make the stops on defense, it's only going to make things better for you on the offensive end. Whether the court, the field, the ice, it only opens things up. If you get stops on defense, you get transition opportunities, it's phenomenal. We saw Carolina, when they got stops on defense against UCLA, they're so fast, especially when they ran the four guards, because any one of those four guys that gets the ball in their hands, they could push. They could push. And that's exactly what Hubert Davis wants. Duke can have that as well. Well, you have Sion James or Caleb Foster, Tyrese Proctor, Cooper Flagg, or Con Knipple. I even put Isaiah Evans when he's in there as well. When those guys get the ball in their hands, whether they get a stop on defense, grabbing a rebound, getting a steal, they can push. And Isaiah Evans coming off the bench, if he's, again, a consistent threat shooting from outside. He was 2 for 3 against Georgia Tech. He had 8 points total. The fact that the threat is there of him in transition, catch and shoot in rhythm, watch out. But gosh, remember, I remember Ian Jackson for Carolina. They got a defensive stop in the first half, catches the ball on the left wing. I mean, there's literally 3 seconds off the shot clock. Left wing three-pointer, nails it. You love that where you can catch and shoot in rhythm like that. Defense translates into offense. Doesn't matter what the sport is. All right, that's number 4. Let's get to number 3. An overall awesome day for NC State against Rider. Overall, just an awesome day for them. Everyone got to play. Jaden Taylor was 5 of 7 shooting, led the team overall in terms of scoring. But again, everyone got to eat. When you're playing against a team like Rider, that's exactly what you need to have happen. Jumped out to the early lead. Kevin Keats, their head coach, talked about, hey, when you get that separation early in the game, things are just so much easier.
Yeah, you know what? We wanted to establish ourselves defensively. I've talked about this. Sometimes you can come out flat, but that doesn't mean that you got to give up baskets because you're not scoring, and we really emphasize that. The one thing that we did this week that we've done different is we played a bunch of small games. We played a bunch of 4-minute games, and putting them in situations where you're up 10, down 10. We wanted to, instead of drills, I think sometimes as coaches we can over-drill, and in drills you know where you're supposed to be. But when you're playing a game, the guys are in different places, and I thought it paid off for us, and we were better, and I thought we got better in some areas.
NC State, as they approach ACC play, Graham, they got to get some big wins. They can't do what they did last year or rely on that happening last year.
I mean, they're honestly sort of in a similar trend that Carolina is as far as looking for that first big non-conference marquee win. Had a chance to do it against Purdue, had a chance to do it against BYU, couldn't close it out. Texas, I mean, ACC, SEC Challenge, it's a primetime game. You lose that game in a close one. And then Kansas, that was probably their toughest non-conference loss that we've seen so far out of them.
And sure enough, against Kansas, they spotted Kansas 15 points to start the game, and then they lose by 15 points. Something you can't do. NC State's not going to have a lot of chances on their schedule to get quote-unquote quad one wins. When you look at the net rankings and all right, we play this team like quadrant one's like the most difficult, quadrant two being the second tier, and then all the way down to quadrant four being like, all right, these are against bad teams. The opportunities against quad ones aren't really going to be in abundance in the ACC schedule because ACC struggled in so many games, non-conference. The ACC SEC Big Challenge, you just brought it up, Graham. 2 schools won. Duke won and Clemson won. Now, Clemson beat Kentucky and Duke beat Auburn, 2 top 10 teams. But after that, not good. Not good. So, yes, now that everyone in the ACC overall, their net rankings aren't very high, now you start to play each other, ain't helping you. Simple as that. And that's something that the selection committee and all that stuff looks at. NC State, I feel like they got to beat UNC at least once. They got to beat, in my opinion, they got to beat UNC once. Remember correctly, they only have Duke once on their schedule this season.
At Cameron Indoor.
At Cameron. Gosh, if you could pull out a win against them, that only boosts. That only boosts you even further.
And Stanford right now is sitting at the top of the conference. You played them twice.
Stanford, yeah. Win those. Got to beat Louisville. Like, those are the games you have to win. Like, State's not in terrible shape, I would say, going in, but their schedule wasn't that tough overall. It really wasn't. They got to get some signature wins, quote-unquote signature wins, against some high-profile teams. And if you can get them on the road, even better. That just only boosts it up even further. But I don't know. It's really hard to tell what this NC State team truly is right now. It really is hard to tell. But we'll find out in due time. All right, that's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Canes got to win. I know on Friday they lost against the Washington Capitals. Hey, Washington Capitals are the best team in the NHL. They played a pretty good game. Lost 3-1. But then we go to Sunday, Graham. Sunday, 3-1 win on the road in Madison Square Garden. By the way, second time a team from the Triangle went into Madison Square Garden and won a game. Just pointing that out. Just want to point that out for the people out there. You know what's been impressive lately, Graham? The penalty kill. They were 4 for 4 yesterday was the PK. If you go back the last 9 games, the Canes have killed off 24 straight penalties. 24 straight in the last 9 games. Heck, they've scored more shorthanded than they've allowed. Rob Brindamore, the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, how impressive the PK has been in recent games.
Every game is kind of it's about the next one, and you're 0 for 0 when you start that next game. So tonight was a good one because we killed them all, and you get some momentum. I think you get a little bit of confidence with it. Certainly, if it goes the other way, you're kind of always on your heels, not sure about yourself, and especially the way we kill. I think we're aggressive, and you want to be confident in what you're doing.
If you ask any coach, Graham, any hockey coach, if you had to pick one, penalty kill or PK, if you had to be at lead at one, what would you pick?
I want to take the power play.
You would take the power play?
I say that, though, just because think about how many times it's gone dead quiet in the playoffs for the Carolina Hurricanes in recent seasons.
Okay.
If the power play was a lot better or significantly better, I would obviously take the penalty kill. But in this situation, for the Hurricanes team specifically, I'd want to take the power play.
Every coach in the NHL would tell you, I will take an elite penalty kill over an elite power play. Because power play opportunities, you may only get one a game or may only get two. That's it. An elite power play in the NHL, I mean, the top power play in the NHL right now is Winnipeg at 31.8%.
Well, they're like leading all the NHL and everything, it feels like.
Well, they are. But then New Jersey's at 31%. Carolina is actually 6th in the NHL at 26.4%. That's good. So essentially 1 of 4. Slightly better than 1 of 4. You ain't getting 4 opportunities in a game. You're just not.
And with the Hurricanes,
not consistently.
With the Hurricanes goaltending situation, you probably want a more solid, a more well-rounded penalty kill right now.
You want every team, every coach will out there and say, I will take an elite penalty kill over an elite power play. Because at least, because again, there's no guarantee on how many power play opportunities you're going to get in a game. Especially when the playoffs roll around, you might get 2. But if, ref calls a couple fluky ones and you have 4 penalty kills, if I can go 4 for 4 on a night in and night out basis, I'm taking that. I'm taking that. And I'll take my chances at 5-on-5. But elite penalty kill. The Canes, overall, their special teams, best in the NHL. I'll just say that overall. Second best penalty kill in the league at 86.1%. The team they're playing tonight, Nashville, the only team that's better at 87.3%. Now, Nashville has their own problems. I understand. Maybe bringing this up is actually counter to my point because Nashville has the best penalty kill in the league, yet they're one of the worst teams in the NHL. But they also can't score. So there's that. But Carolina, 6th best in the NHL in terms of the power play. Overall, their special teams are as good as it gets in the league, which helps. Which is interesting because as much as Rob Brindamore wants to keep things 5-on-5, your special teams aren't hurting you. If anything, they're helping you, for sure. By the way, speaking of the Nashville Predators tonight, I've actually, through my work with FanDuel Sports Network, I've actually done a lot of work for Nashville Predators games this season. So I've seen a lot more Predators games than I probably expected to this season. They're not that great overall. But Roman Josi, who's one of the best defensemen in the NHL, has been hurt of recent games. Brady Shea, former Carolina Hurricanes, probably their top defenseman right now. He actually had a goal and an assist when they played Pittsburgh Penguins the other day. But their big signings this offseason were Brady Shea, who I just mentioned, Steven Stamkos from the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Jonathan Marchessault from the Vegas Golden Knights. They actually decided to put those Marchessault, Stamkos, and Philip Forsberg, their 3 top forwards. They actually finally decided to put those 3 guys together, put Stamkos back at center, and sure enough, they've been scoring more lately, Graham. Imagine that. Imagine that. You put Stamkos in his natural spot, and he's starting to produce more. Same with Marchessault and Philip Forsberg. So if you're Carolina, you are going to want to make sure, if you can't get Stahl out there against Stamkos, if you can't get Stahl, Martinook, and Carrier out there against Stamkos, Martinook, and Philip Forsberg, you better hope that you have Aho's line out there as well. Or you're going to make sure you have your top defensive pair out there, which is, either if you can't get Slavin and Burns out there against them, you better make sure you got Orlov and Chatfield against them. You want those guys on the ice at all times against that trio. Simple as that. Something to watch for tonight on the road in Smashville. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go 1!
Panthers get a win, 36-30 in overtime. Chuba Hubbard wins it, runs to victory, had runs of 28 and 21 yards on back-to-back carries on the second possession of overtime for the Carolina Panthers as they get a win. Bryce Young, what does Chuba Hubbard mean to this offense?
Big statement for us just internally. Again, we talk about finish, and we want to finish on our terms. And, just to finish in that way, first down, I think, knowing, we don't have to leave it up to, we don't have to leave it up to 3. We don't have to be conservative in how we attack in our run game. And Chuba doing a great job, again, making 2 people miss in the open field, the line giving them that hole. We have all the faith in those guys, and just a great way for us to finish the day-to-day.
Big-time finish for the Carolina Panthers. By the way, I still think there are some winning plays that are left out there for Carolina. If you look at their their final drive of regulation. They take over the ball with 3 minutes and 10 seconds to play. They're leading by 3. They get the ball on their own 13-yard line. Arizona has 4 timeouts. And by say 4 timeouts, their own 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. So 4 stoppages of the clock. Carolina, in this situation, you have the ball. 2 things are your friend: possession and the clock. Protect the football. Stay in bounds. Hold on to the ball. Make sure the clock keeps moving, or you make sure you force Arizona to call timeouts. It gets to 3rd and 5. Clock's ticking. Just over 2 minutes to play. Bryce Young finds Dan Chizina for a 23-yard pickup all the way to the 42-yard line. Love it. Except Chizina goes out of bounds with 2:15 to play. Stops the clock. Saves a timeout for Arizona. Okay. Arizona still has 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, so 3 stops of the clock. Again, staying in bounds either makes Arizona use the timeout or the clock ticks down to the 2-minute warning. You're forcing Arizona to use one of their stoppages. Panthers run the ball twice. Cardinals use one of their timeouts, as well as a 2-minute warning to stop the clock. And it brings up a 3rd down and a short 3. Carolina at their own 49-yard line. You pick up a 1st down, you win this game. Simple as that. Pick up a 1st down, you win this game. Dave Canales elects to throw the ball to Chizina, the guy I just mentioned. The play's there. But Bryce Young just misses the throw. I thought Bryce Young overall had a really good day. His scrambling really was the difference in the game. But Bryce missed the throw to Chizina on 3rd down and 3. And he knew it. He knew it. He knew it. But if you make that completion, if Bryce puts it on Chizina, ain't all he has to do. All the only thing he has to do is turn upfield 2 steps and jump forward. Like just literally dive forward. And he has a 1st down. He stays in bounds. Arizona uses their last timeout. You kneel 3 times. Game. Victory. Go home. Victory formation. Go home. Instead, pass incomplete. So with Chizina going out of bounds earlier on the drive, stopping the clock for Arizona. And by Bryce missing that throw, you stop the clock twice for Arizona for them. That's not good. Sure enough, you punt the ball. Arizona gets the ball at their own 26-yard line with 1:47 left to play and a timeout. You punted the ball away to a team and you gave them an opportunity to win the game. Because if Arizona goes down and scores a touchdown, game over. You had the chance to win the game earlier, and you didn't. Now, thankfully, you only gave up a field goal. Thankfully, you got to stop in overtime, and you're able to go down and score. Also, Eddie Pinheiro, please make your point afters. Make your point after. Maybe you're not in this situation. But the situation was a situation, you have to handle it. Carolina didn't do so well late in the game in terms of taking care of the ball, or at least in terms of making those quote-unquote winning plays, holding on to the ball. It's what it is. So that's our starting 5 here on The Drive. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly here today on The Drive. We need a couple of numbers game contestants, Graham, don't we? Call 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a $25 Sharkies gift card. Come to Sharkies Saturday, December 28th for the best college football watch party in the Triangle involving North Carolina State University and East Carolina University. Great beer and food specials. The greatest bar in the world is hosting the greatest watch party. December 28th, Sharkies off Durley Road next to the Shell Station. 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. A chance to win a $25 Sharkies gift card next here on The Drive.
Tim Donnelly here for Capital Financial Advisory Group, and of course that means my guy, Coach Pete. Coach Pete will help you regain control of your foundation for retirement and see you not just to, but through a worry-free retirement. The best part of the holidays is double-checking everything, right? You're looking back at your year, you're looking for the details. What'd we do? What should we do next year? Well, Coach Pete is the same way, only it's every day. He has a 22-step process behind the scenes that identifies your unique financial composition, sets you up for the best way to navigate the journey along the way, not just to, as I always say, but through retirement. Coach Pete wants to help you out, help you retire like a champion, get through that financial red zone, over the goal line, and into the retirement end zone. So this holiday season, call Coach Pete in Capital Financial at 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215. Or you can text my name, Tim, to 600-700. Just make sure they know who sent it.
The Adam Gold Show.
I don't understand why people can't wrap their minds around that the college football universe is going to be vastly different than it's ever been. We might not recognize it based on what happened last year, let alone 5 years ago. What's to say that Bill Belichick won't be the first of many NFL coaches to take over a college program?
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. That's right, now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Did you know that Bailey's Fine Jewelry has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for luxury designers, fine diamonds, and watches, but we also have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts under $500. We're celebrating making holiday gifting easy since 1948. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville to see why every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
This is what WRAL weather coverage sounds like.
Thunderstorm warning right now in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
When your safety is a priority.
An indication that there is a tornado on the ground, so get in your safe spot
in this area, get in your safe spot right now.
With the tools that make a difference.
WRAL Storm Tracker is inside the storm.
WRAL has the only dual Doppler radar in Wade County.
Hear it and see it every day.
It looks like the storm is doing exactly what we predicted to do.
That's WRAL News. Weather coverage you can count on.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and our world is too often marked by polarization and hostility. It can be easy to be discouraged by politics, our economic situation, or other worries. It's also tempting to place our hope in political leaders or material wealth. Yet centuries ago, wisdom reminded us not to trust in kings or riches, but to find hope in a promised Savior who was born in a manger in Bethlehem. That Savior, Jesus, came to offer life and rest for weary souls. His invitation remains, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This Christmas season celebrates the incredible gift of Emmanuel, God with us. It's a time to reflect on His love, freely given and undeserved, bringing light to a dark and weary world. My prayer is that you find the answers to the deepest needs of your soul in Jesus, who came near to bring salvation and peace. This message brought to you by Easy Step Media
and the Good Feet Store.
It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. Graham Hill producing it. It is time for the numbers game. We have a $25 Sharkies gift card. Come to Sharkies Saturday, December 28th for the best college football watch party in the Triangle involving North Carolina State University and East Carolina University. Great beer and food specials all day. The greatest bar in the world is hosting the greatest watch party. December 28th, Sharkies off Durley Road next to the Shell Station. We have a $25 gift card on the line. Between our two contestants, we have Eric in Wake Forest as well as Ethan in Fayetteville. Got to figure out who goes first, Graham. So Eric from Wake Forest going to ask you this question. We ask it every Monday. Your highlight of the weekend has to be sports related.
I got 2 of them. Considering I'm from Detroit, the Lions winning, and of course, You got to go with the Panthers with the overtime victory.
Okay. Your hometown Lions getting a win and the Panthers getting a win. All right, stay on the line. Let's go to Ethan down in Fayetteville. Ethan, your highlight of the sports weekend, but it has to be your highlight from the weekend, but it has to be sports related.
I would say, because I'm a UNC fan, and I would have to say the UNC beating UCLA and Carolina Panthers as well, getting the dub.
Okay, both big things, both great weekends. Graham, you decide.
So it's a situation of who needed the win more. I feel like Ethan's Tar Heels needed the win a little bit more than the Panthers did, just because the Panthers, I mean, they've won 3 games this year. Carolina.
Okay.
We'll go with Ethan and Fayetteville to go first.
Okay, all right. So Ethan and Fayetteville, you'll be first. Don't you worry, Eric. You will have your chance here in just a moment. All right, Ethan, are you there?
Yes.
All right, Ethan, you get to choose between one of these 4 categories to choose from, all right? We have NFL Super Bowl record holders, NFL holiday time, so something holiday-related in their name. We also have NBA Triangle area first-round picks, so these are all guys who played in the Triangle who were first-round picks into the NBA, as well as NHL Hurricanes only.
Can you repeat the first one again?
NFL Super Bowl record holders.
I'll go with that one.
Okay, so NFL Super Bowl record holders is your category. The game works. You have 30 seconds on the clock. The time will start when you hear the horn. Give us the name. I'll give you the name and the team for which the player played for. You give us the jersey number. If it's incorrect, we'll just go on to the next one. But you do have one pass. 30 seconds on the clock. You're trying to get all 5. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Troy Aikman, Dallas Cowboys.
8.
Correct. Musha Muhammad, Carolina Panthers.
81.
Incorrect. Joe Montana, San Francisco 49ers.
5.
Incorrect. Musha Muhammad, Carolina Panthers.
87.
Correct. Joe Montana, San Francisco 49ers.
Skip.
Terrell Davis, Denver Broncos.
88.
Incorrect. Rodney Harrison, New England Patriots.
31.
Incorrect. You were close on that one. Troy Aikman, you got Dallas Cowboys. He's a career pass completion, 70%. You got that with 8. Musha Muhammad, Carolina Panthers, longest reception in Super Bowl history, 85 yards. You got that correct eventually with 87. Joe Montana, 16. Figure you might have gotten that one, but career passer rating in the Super Bowl, 127.8. Terrell Davis has the most touchdowns in a game at 3 for the Denver Broncos. He wore number 30. And Rodney Harrison, New England Patriots, career tackles combined in the Super Bowl with 34. He wore number 37 for the New England Patriots. So you got 2 out of 5. Stay on the line, and then we will see if that score holds up. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so that was Ethan down in Fayetteville. Let's bring on Eric in Wake Forest. Eric, are you there?
Let's go. Yes, I can't believe he ain't get Montana.
You and I both. But hey, don't start talking yet. You still got to beat his score of 2, all right?
I know.
All right, you have 1 of 3 categories to choose from. You have NFL holiday time, NBA Triangle area first-round picks, and NHL Hurricanes only.
I'm going to go with the NFL holiday time. Let's go.
NFL holiday time, so there is part of the player's name has something holiday related. Again, 30 seconds on the clock. You do have 1 pass. Your score to beat is 2. Are you ready, Eric?
Let's go.
All right, your time starts when you hear the horn. Le'Veon Bell, Pittsburgh Steelers.
26.
Correct. Kyle Rudolph, Minnesota Vikings.
88.
Incorrect. Dwayne Bowe, Kansas City Chiefs.
Pass.
Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns.
34.
Incorrect. Kyle Rudolph, Minnesota Vikings.
87.
Incorrect. Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns.
33.
Incorrect. All right, you got Le'Veon Bell correct, 26. Kyle Rudolph with the Minnesota Vikings wore 82. Dwayne Bowe with the Kansas City Chiefs also wore number 82. And Nick Chubb for the Cleveland Browns wears number 24. By the way, Rudolph wore number 80 with the New York Giants and also wore number 8 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm sorry, you only got one correct there on that one. Eric, I'm sorry you didn't get Joe Montana.
That's okay.
Awesome.
Good luck next time.
Hey, better luck next time for sure. That brings us, Ethan. Congratulations to you, sir.
Yeah, I cannot believe I missed Joe Montana, too.
Hey, you know what? You and everyone else listening. That's all I'm going to say. You and everyone else listening. But congratulations to you. Stick on the line. Graham is going to get some information from you, and then we will make sure we get your $25 Sharky's gift card sent your way, all right?
All right, sounds great. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You as well. Enjoy the holidays. Merry Christmas to you. By the way, Le'Veon Bell, how's this holiday related? Le'Veon Bell, because, ring a bell. Kyle Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, pretty easy. Dwayne Bowe, wrap a gift up with a bow. Nick Chubb, Old St. Nick. There you go, folks. Shout out to Paul Ihander, our program director, for picking those out for us. This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim this afternoon. He'll be back next week. It's crazy to think that we're pretty much at the new year. Wild to think about. Graham Hill is producing the show today. Real quick, NFL news. I'm sure Panther fans will recognize this name. Do you remember Deontay Johnson? Remember Deontay Johnson? Who had 8 games played. Well, I guess he was on the roster for 8 games for Carolina. He missed the last game with an abdominal injury. I air quote that. So he played 7 games overall, was with the roster for 8. Then the Carolina Panthers traded him to the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens actually cut him this past Friday. Released him the day before they actually played the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Deontay Johnson, again, was traded after Week 8 back on October 19th. Only played 39 snaps for Baltimore, had 1 catch for 6 yards. 1 catch for 6 yards. They waived him on Friday. Back on December 1st, he actually refused to go into a game against the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Ravens suspended him for a game. They had a bye week, and then they suspended him for a game. And then he was excused from team activities this past week, and they just went ahead and just waived him. It's like, you know what? Get out of here. Get out of here. Well, he got picked up today by the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans actually play in a couple days against the Baltimore Ravens. Go figure. On Wednesday, on Christmas Day. So interestingly enough, he gets picked up by the team that's about to play the team he just came from. Find that interesting. It does actually happen sometimes around the NFL. But nonetheless, Tank Dell, one of the young wide receivers for the Houston Texans, suffered a torn ACL as well as dislocated kneecap on Sunday. He's done for the rest of the year. They're already without Stephon Diggs. He tore his ACL earlier this season. So really the receiving core was down to Nico Collins. So there's a little bit of necessity in Houston for a wide receiver. And all of a sudden, Deontay Johnson just happened to become available. Go figure. The reason why I bring that up is this. I know a lot of Panther fans a lot of people that cover the team were wondering why the Carolina Panthers got, quote-unquote, so little for getting rid of Deontay Johnson. So when they traded Deontay Johnson, they traded Deontay Johnson and a 6th-round pick to Baltimore for a 5th-round pick. So basically you're moving up from early in the 6th round, if you're Carolina, up to late in the 5th round. That's fine. But clearly, this dude is bad for your locker room. Simple as that. Earlier this offseason, this calendar year, in the offseason, back in March, the Pittsburgh Steelers traded Deontay Johnson away, who was one of their top 2 receivers, by the way. They traded him away to Carolina for a 6th, 7th round pick swap, and they also got Dante Jackson, a defensive back who the Carolina Panthers were about to release themselves. So they traded him away for hardly anything. And I will say, hey, you know what? Good move by Dan Morgan. Because if this works out for Carolina, you got yourself a starting level wide receiver for the Panthers and for Bryce Young. He ends up being a headache for the team. So they ship him. So he was a headache in Pittsburgh. They ship him away for hardly anything. He's a headache in Carolina. They ship him away for hardly anything. And then Baltimore is like, we're just going to let you go. Like, just go away. It's the third team in a span of basically 10 months who has told this player, get out of here. Like, go away. He's super talented. That's not a dispute. But when 3 teams tell you to go away, there's a common denominator in there. Especially when you have like 2 of those 3 teams in Pittsburgh and Baltimore are 2 of the most stable teams in the NFL in terms of locker room culture, front office, coach, all those things. They said, we don't want to deal with you. And a team like Carolina that's desperate for talent was like, we don't want to deal with you. Says something about you as a person. Says something about you as a person. Anyway, found that interesting, Graham. Found that very interesting. And you know, the only reason why he's there in Houston is, let's be real, Houston just needs wideouts. Stephon Diggs, again, done for the year, ACL injury. Tank Dell just injured this past Sunday. Yeah, and he's talented. He's good. But man, he's a headache. He is a headache. The Drive on 99.9 The Fan. Drive with Tim Donnelly. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly this afternoon. Graham producing the show today. On the other side, Bryce Young had the bounce-back performance that he needed. And why really, even though his stat line wasn't impressive, I'll tell you the thing that impressed me most this past Sunday by Bryce Young. Next.
Move your sports day forward.
Not one person with a shred of credibility who writes, covers, opines about the NFL did what I had expected, and they didn't, and it's good news for you Carolina Panthers fans. Once Kirk Cousins was benched in Atlanta, not one linked him to a trade to the Panthers. Bryce Young's changing minds, people.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes available online or in person. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted.
Not available in Washington State.
Bravo, Brenda. You've always been a saver. Price matching your price matches. The self-proclaimed queen of extreme couponing. But this time, you've truly outdone yourself. By saving for this electric vehicle, you're locking in up to $1,000 a year in fuel and maintenance savings, which will leave you saying, cha-ching, every time you unplug. Good for your wallet, great for the planet. That's the power of EV. Sponsored by the NC Clean Energy Technology Center and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with this station.
Come on, Mufasa. Let's get in some trouble.
This holiday season, destiny awaits you. You can grab your friends and experience Mufasa the Lion King in 3D. Everything the light touches belongs to me. You'll have to take it. Don't miss the perfect family Christmas movie.
Now went swimmingly, if I say so myself.
Disney's Mufasa the Lion King. Oh, yeah, that looks good. Now playing only in theaters. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Tickets on sale now.
We know you have a lot on your holiday to-do list. And at the UPS Store, we're here to help. With our pack and ship guarantee, your gifts will arrive intact or you'll be reimbursed. Got holiday cards to print? We're also the premier printing store. We've got everything you need for every way you holiday. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
So there was a major question going into Sunday for the Carolina Panthers as they face the Arizona Cardinals. And that was how Bryce Young would respond to the 4-turnover game that he had the week before when they played the Dallas Cowboys. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, rough day for him. We saw early this season mistakes compound, not just over the course of a single game, but from game to game from Bryce Young. That's the reason why he got benched. So a major question was, okay, how are you going to respond this time? Because I thought the response back in the game against Dallas when they were down 10-7, for opening drive, they moved the ball. They had gone 12 plays, and on the 13th play, Bryce Young scrambles to his left, diving forward to pick up extra yards. Ball gets punched out. He didn't secure the football. Turnover. Otherwise, that opening drive was really good. And I thought, hey, you know what? If I'm the coach on the sideline, I'm telling them, all right, guys, here we are. Let's just come in right back to where we were. We'll take care of the ball next time, but we're moving. We got this. Instead, everything just kind of crumbled. Outside of the 183-yard touchdown pass to Jalen Coker. Outside of that, the offense wasn't good. And then I was hoping against Dallas that the response would be, okay, it's 10-7. We didn't have a really good first half overall. We got that big play. It's only 3 points. We're right in this thing. Very first play of the second half. Offensive line breaks down right at the middle. Damian Lewis gets beat. Bryce Young gets hit right from his front, gets hit right in the chest. Strip sack, ball gets taken away. The very first play of the second half. Before you know it, Dallas goes down. They score again. It's 17-7. And then everything started just compounding, snowballed after that. However you wanted, whatever analogy you want to use. Everything compounded after that point. So I didn't like the response in game for both Bryce and the team against Dallas. Okay, how are you going to respond now against another game, against another team that's fighting for a playoff spot, this time being the Arizona Cardinals? How are you going to respond after the failures of the week before? This is something I used to tell my players when I coached. I used to coach college lacrosse. I used to say, hey, look, you might make one mistake in a game. And guess what? It's going to happen. You might throw a bad pass. You might drop one. You might just miss a shot. Whatever, you're going to get beat. It's going to happen during the course of a game. How do you respond? Are you going to mope about it? Or are you going to let that mistake cause you to be tense, to be tight? That's going to lead to other mistakes. How are you going to respond? And if you have a rough game going into the next one, how are you going to respond? Sure enough, Bryce Young was calm. He was poised in this game. He was not afraid to use his scrambling to his advantage, and it paid off big time. That's the maturity that you wanted to see, that I guess you'd say we have been seeing from Bryce Young, but that's the maturity you wanted to see from him, where he had the rough game. especially because Carolina had played, up until Dallas, 5 consecutive one-possession games. You beat the Saints at home by a point. You went to Germany and you won in overtime with a field goal against the New York Giants. They had a bye week. Then against the Kansas City Chiefs, you lost on a field goal at the buzzer. Then you go to overtime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You lose by a field goal there. You go on the road to Philadelphia. You lead a drive where you throw a beautiful pass to Xavier Legette, who ran a great route and cooked Darius Slay, was wide open, just wasn't able to bring the ball in. A touchdown that would have tied the game. The reason why I say tied the game, because there's no guarantee of an extra point now with Eddie Pinheiro. But still, it would have put you in the lead, potentially, at that point. So you have been playing competitive games up to that point. Then you had the stinker. The first time he really had like a terrible game since being brought back as the starter after the Andy Dalton thumb injury. Yeah, against Denver, he had a couple good drives, but there were also a lot of bad in between that too. So the last 5 games, or 5 games leading up to Dallas, were close competitive games. Were they perfect? No. But they were close competitive games. Okay, you had the bad one. How did you respond? If he came out and just started throwing picks again or turning the ball over or being hesitant, then it's like, you know what? Maybe all the good that Bryce had built up, maybe that was all for nothing. Because now you can't just bench him and reset him again. But the response from Bryce was phenomenal. Yes, the overall stat line weren't great. 158 yards, 17 to 26. Nothing fancy, but he used his legs when he needed to. Something that he's been doing. He's used his legs when he needed to. Now, there's still, I know very first pass play of the game, he threw a great pass down the right side to Adam Thielen. Sure-handed Adam Thielen goes right through his arms. Adam Thielen just straight missed it. Call it what it is. He missed it. A guy that you notably can rely on to make catches for you just wasn't there. Just wasn't able to, just didn't make that one play early in the game. But overall, the receivers were pretty good. Overall, the play's really good. Sometimes a victory on a play, just hold on to the football and take a sack. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do on that play. Sometimes it's just scrambling out, throwing the ball away. Sometimes it's, hey, go pick up 5 yards with your legs, protect the ball, get down. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do on a play. The coverage was great. Things maybe break down in front of you, whatever it is. And overall, he won more plays than he lost. Again, the passing game wasn't phenomenal. They leaned on the run game. Finally, Dave Canales decided to lean on that run game. They made it an emphasis, especially against Dallas, because against Dallas, they really didn't do that. Against Dallas, Chuba Hubbard only had 10 carries, and 4 of them came on the very first drive of the game. And he only had 3 carries after halftime. Again, you fell behind a bunch, and you made yourself one-dimensional. But overall, from the team, offensively, great job. Great job responding. Now, again, there are still plays to be made to finish the game better offensively. Still time on the clock. You have the ball. Win it. Go win it. Do not give the other team another chance. That comes on you with offensive execution. But overall, you got to be happy with the way Bryce played in terms of the response. Was it a lights-out game? No. But his response, you got to love that. Showing maturity from a young player. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox sitting in for Tim Donnelly today. Graham Hill is producing the show. At 6 o'clock, so coming up here shortly, we will have Panther Talk. Anish Shroff, Jim Szoke, Eugene Robinson. They're going to be joined by the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. So you're going to be hearing that coming up at 6:05. Later on this evening, 8 o'clock puck drop. It's a hockey night in Carolina. Canes are taking on the Nashville Predators. 7:30 Storm Watch with Adam Gold tonight as the Canes are in Smashville. That should be a fun one tonight. Let's go Canes. For Graham Hill, Dennis Cox, until next time we bid you adieu. Goodbye and good night.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.